In the 9 mystical realms, martial arts rule, and only the strongest are respected. In their honor, there is a list. This list is called the Heavenly List. It is rumored that those on this list have boundless power. They can weave clouds and make rain with their hands. Number 1 on the list is the one who has achieved greatness, the one who has shaken the whole world. He can rival immortals and gods, and even confront the heavens. The warrior stands on a cliff and watches the lightning and thunder roll across the heavens. He says that soon to begin, the great body refinement master Ye Kangshuan will come face to face with the eternal heavenly tribulation. Ye Kangshuan is at the top of the heavenly list. The warrior saw the sky open up and a huge sword appeared from there, pointing at the earth. It was the divine execution sword. The elder said that this was the first level of the heavenly tribulation trial, a divine weapon of the heavenly Tao, the divine sword of execution. It was rumored that only those who had gained the recognition of the heavenly Tao could resist this sword. Had Ye Kangshuan really become so strong? Ye Kangshuan swung his hand and touched the sword point with his fingers. Lightning flashed across the sword and it was covered in cracks. The people watching were startled. They called the great heavens as witnesses. This guy had broken the sword with just 2 fingers. How is this possible? Ye Kangshuan said that it was too easy. Could they give him something heavier? It was a bold statement. A cultivator of the body refinement realm appeared in the heavens. He said that this young man was only a mortal creature. How dare this fellow be so arrogant as to provoke the heavens? Ye Kangshuan showed with his appearance that he didn't care about his interlocutors. He said that this old man was too talkative and he could take a break. The heaven realm cultivator was angered by the boy's behavior. Clasping his weapon tighter in his hands, he asked, "How dare this mortal talk to him like that?" Ye Kangshuan directed his internal energy at the old man dwelling in the heavens. There was a powerful explosion, and everything around him was engulfed in flames. The guy said that now that the divine weapons and soldiers had been defeated, it was time for the opponent to appear in person. The lightning bolts in the sky continued to get bigger and bigger. An elder appeared in front of Ye Kangshuan and said that it was 100,000 heavenly tribulations. Ye Kangshuan clenched his fists and said that he wanted to see if he could win. The guy stretched his hands up and turned his palms toward the sky. Powerful pulses of his internal energy were sent towards the heavens. As a result, a powerful pulse was formed and sent straight into the sky. Another explosion took place. The elder turned to Ye Kangshuan and said that his longtime friends would no longer rule the 9 realms from now on. From now on, he leaves the demons to Ye Kangshuan. He hopes that the fellow will not let him down. After a while, the elder said that he had lost. Even Ye Kangshuan, who possessed an incomparable sacred body, could not escape the fate of being destroyed by the 100,000 heaven tribulation. Elder Ye perished in the heavenly realm. From this day onwards, the top position on the heaven ranking list would change. A storm would once again break out in the world. Demon Realm. At the same time, the demons said that due to Ye Kangshuan's death, their day of exaltation had finally arrived. The desolate bone immortal said that now he would finally be able to rule the 9 realms. The Thunder Realm said that after 3,000 years of waiting, this rascal was finally dead. The Thunder Demon said that the seal was broken. The first place on the heavenly list would be taken by him, the Thunder Demon. In the Demon God Realm, Demon Emperor Zhanhuang said that the unknown list was about to change. Without Ye Qianshuan, the Demon God Realm would finally rise. Emperor Zhanhuang told his children that they would now celebrate the event. In the Celestial Realm, events took a different direction. The girl said that without Ye Qingshuan, the 9 realms and worlds would fall into chaos, but she knew that he would not perish so easily. Ye Qinghan said, "No matter where he is now, no matter what part of the world he is in, she will wait for his return. The city of Kangzhou. All the people are cheering and rejoicing." The young man says, "If anyone intends to participate in the Qingxuan sect's external trials, should let him know first. Tomorrow morning, he will lead everyone to Qingxuan Mountain to take the entrance exam." There appeared many people who wanted to register. There was even confusion at first. The young man said that 3,000 years had passed, The world had changed, the fields had transformed, and he had never thought that he, Ye Qianshuan, would actually return to the Qingshuan sect. Qingshuan sect was founded by Ye Qianshuan's ancestor. At the dawn of his strength, he had millions of disciples, and his sect was number 1 in the 9 mystic realms. The guy hadn't appeared here for over 3,000 years. I wonder who is in charge of the Qingshuan sect now. Some kid came up to our hero and asked why the guy was talking to himself. Was he really sick? Ye Qingshuan looked at this boy and thought that it was the dual yin and yang Taoist physique. How could there be such an excellent Tao body in this realm? Ye Qingshuan thought that he didn't expect to encounter such an outstanding talent in this world. The boy with fiery hair told his elder brother that a huge black python had appeared in the sky. The warriors passing by said, "What kind of nonsense is this beggar talking? How can there be a python in the sky? This is just ridiculous." Ye Qingshuan looked up and said that the Taoist dual physique had an incomparable sensitivity to the creatures of the outside world. "It looks like there will be a misfortune in Kangzhou today." Everyone looked up at the sky and indeed saw that a huge black python had appeared. It was a terrifying sight. Everyone started to scatter in different directions out of fear. The demonic python really appeared in the sky. Its legs were trying to hide in buildings. The demonic python said that the blood of hundreds of martial artists had been gathered here. This was just what it wanted. The demonic python laughed loudly and said that after many days of searching, he could finally drink the blood of 8,000 martial artists, turn into a dragon, and complete the challenge. A stranger appeared and said that she couldn't believe that this miracle could speak human language. The girl arrived on a cloud with a whip in her hand. She said that this wild beast was in the reincarnation stage. It was Han Zhenglin of the Qingshuan sect, accompanied by female disciples of that sect. The girl interjected, "Does he really want to drink the blood of 8,000 martial artists? It seems like he has been in the vicinity of this city for a long time." Han Zhengling told her fellow students that this creature was a danger to the people of the city. There should be no mercy, it must be destroyed. The black demonic python said that there were many demonic little people in front of it. Han Zhengling said that this yin python is already close to turning into a heavenly python. They are no match for this creature. It was urgent to ask for help from the senior siblings of the Qingshuan sect. One of the assistants shot a finger into the sky and let out a beacon. It was a call for help. The demonic beast said that it was useless to call out to anyone. They would all be devoured. So just have to resign and accept their fate. The dragon began to smash everything in its path. He was scary and horrible. The beast said that first he would destroy this city, and he would eat this girl later for dessert. It would be after he had eaten all the people of the city. The people of this town were running away in different directions. They did not want to be eaten. There were cries for help from different directions. Only Ye Qingshuan was not afraid of anything and bravely prepared to face the danger. The unfamiliar boy with fiery hair clung to his new acquaintance. A black demonic python was just flying over our hero. The boy clung to it even more tightly. Not a single muscle on Ye Qingshuan's face trembled. He was not afraid of this reptile. When the black demon python lowered its flight path, Ye Qingshuan jabbed his finger into its belly and said that it was just a small worm. Ye Qingshuan indignantly asked, "How dare this little worm be so arrogant?" He threw the demonic python high into the sky with a single flick of his finger. The impact was so strong that the python lost part of its teeth. Its body was also injured. He didn't realize who was this, who had used such an act of violence against him. The girls watching this event were amazed. How could this happen? How was this python able to take off like that? What had just happened in the first place? The python was outraged. This man had only used one finger. Why did he bring it, such a fearsome beast, to such a state? The python's emotionless body slumped to the ground. Ye Qingshuan took out the yin python beast core from the demonic creature's body. It was the heavenly elixir of the demonic python. The reincarnation stage demon beast core, its spiritual energy is very deep. It turns out it was nurtured by a martial arts master. Ye Kangshuan held this nucleus in his hands and thought that it seemed like someone had decided to plot against the entire Qingshuan sect. It was necessary to prevent this from happening. The new acquaintance told our hero that the little python in his hand was very cute. Ye Kangshuan said that he didn't need this little python and would give it to the boy, and asked what was his name. The boy took the little creature in his hands and said his name was Shi. Ye Kangshuan looked around and saw that the disciples of the Qingshuan sect were already here. They were fast, but they were still late. The townspeople saw that the senior disciples of the Qingshuan sect had arrived here. As soon as they heard that the city was in danger, they immediately came to help. People said, "Isn't that Shen Yunfei from the inner hall? Brother Shen is really handsome. It was the grandson of the inner hall elder of the Qingshuan sect." The junior sect disciple Han Zhenglin greeted Brother Shen. The girl respectfully bowed to him. The colleague told Brother Shen that they had confirmed the death of the yin python. The cause of death was unknown, but the strange thing was that the core of the yin python and the demon shell had disappeared. The warrior said that he suspected that the python did not survive the trial and died on the spot. However, someone took advantage of the chaos and took the demon shell and the beast core before they arrived. Shen Yunfei turned to all who could hear him and inquired who had hidden the two items. Shen warned that if they gave him the items, he would drop the charge of hiding the treasure. Shen thought that the core and shell of the python that was about to ascend to the heavenly stage were very valuable and would be of great use to him. Otherwise, he was too lazy to care about the lives of these losers. The girls were horrified as they thought that the demon shell and the beast core had disappeared. How could this have happened? Han reported to her elder brother that they don't know what happened and where the demon shell and the beast core disappeared to. It's a mystery covered in darkness. Shen said that they would have to use the revelation mirror to find the treasure. The young warrior immediately took out the revelation mirror. If they find out that someone dared to steal the treasure, everyone knows the consequences. A beam of light reflected off the mirror and illuminated little Shi. Shi asked his big brother what that light was. Ye Kangshuan said for the boy not to worry, he is nearby. The support team reported that the python core had been found. No one expected to find it from this little ragamuffin. Ye Kangshuan sent his internal energy into the revelation mirror with a light finger movement, and it shattered into pieces. Shen ordered his fellow warriors to bring this core to him immediately. The warriors rushed towards the boy and demanded that the two ragged men hand over the beast core immediately. The treasures of the Qingshuan sect were not for scum to brood over. Ye Kangshuan thought that his sect had a bunch of petty scoundrels bullying people. Ye Kangshuan angrily said that they still dared to call themselves disciples of the Qingshuan sect. Ye Kangshuan became very angry and scattered the sect disciples who tried to attack him in different directions. The defeated warriors were disarmed and deactivated. He asked how those rascals dared to attack a defenseless child. They are all disappointing scum of the new generation. They are much worse than the previous generation. Ye Kangshuan and Shen met each other's gazes. The townspeople thought, is this beggar really that strong? Is he really a martial arts master as well? He seems to be at the initial stage of the body refinement realm. Shen said that it was interesting. It turns out that a beggar of the body refinement realm could single-handedly handle two disciples of the Qingshuan sect. Shen added that since the beast core and demon shell are not lost, he is in a good mood and can keep this beggar alive. Shen sent the sword to his opponent with a motion of his fingers and said that the opponent could take the sword. The stranger could take the sword and cut off his own legs. The sword stabbed into the ground right in front of Ye Kangshuan. Shen Yunfei said that one should not forget whose territory this is. The sect disciples grabbed their weapons. Shen said that if this guy dared to disobey, his punishment would not be as simple as just cutting off his legs. Suddenly, a third negotiator intervened in this dialogue. He asked Shen to reconsider his decision. Han Zhenglin entered the conversation. She said that the two people had just taken the beast core and the beast shell without knowing what they were. The girl asked if they could be released. In that case, Han would be able to inform Saint Ye and let her decide things for herself. Shen asked who she thought she was and how dare she get in his way. Shen said that this girl was just an insignificant disciple. His spiritual beast towered above him. The sect disciples said that it was the primordial ice lion beast soul that appeared. Shen is already a profound soul realm expert. This is very terrifying. Han thought it was an ice lion with a rank 6 soul. Its pressure is too strong. Now she can't move. The girls shouted for Sister Han to get out of there immediately. Ye Kangshuan intervened in the conversation. He thanked the girl for standing up for him. Shen continued to act like an angry and stern warrior. He asked, "This ragamuffin again?" The ice beast became even more stern. Shen said that he would show this stinking beggar the difference between a martial artist and a mere mortal. Ye Kangshuan said that in that case, he wanted his opponent to show him what he was capable of. Above their hero, his fiery spiritual beast appeared, which was much more powerful and bigger than his opponent's spiritual beast. Shen crouched down in fear. He wondered, what was it that had appeared in front of him? Ye Kangshuan said that his opponent was a brat who had no respect for ordinary people and elders. Ye Kangshuan continued that this Shen is just a 6th-ranked martial artist, a realm deep soul, but he is so arrogant that he has no shame. Ye Kangshuan sent his opponent and his spirit beast into free flight with a slight movement of his hand. Shen flew, tumbling and screaming in fear. Ye Kangshuan couldn't believe that 1,000 years of sect teachings had produced a scoundrel like this. It made him feel depressed. Shen shouted in pain and said that his leg was hurt. He plopped down on the ground in front of his opponent. Shen asked who this guy was that he already had a personal dislike for. Ye Kangshuan leaned over the lying Shen and asked, what did he care who was in front of him? He pressed his opponent's face right into the dirt. Shen, expiring in tears, begged for someone to help him get rid of this lunatic. There were no brave men. However, out of nowhere, a voice came out of nowhere and asked the Honorable Lord to have mercy on this man. The voice asked for forgiveness on behalf of the Qingshuan sect. Ye Qingshuan immediately realized that he was being communicated with through telepathy. It seems that the Qingshuan sect is not that full of scum. Ye Kangshuan said that since someone had stood up for him, they would have to spare him this time. Ye Qingshuan gave his opponent a friendly slap on the forehead and said that he had one request. What happened here must be kept secret. He doesn't want it to spread. He doesn't like to draw unnecessary attention to himself. Ye Kangshuan extended his hand over Shen, and there was an infusion of internal energy, a memory manipulation. Shen flew backwards and fell on his back. He hit his head on the ground. Shen pulled himself up and said his head hurt and wondered what had just happened here. Shen saw a stranger standing in front of him. She turned to the guy lying on the ground. The girl said, "It would be bad if he attacked an ordinary person in this city for no reason next time." Those present thought that this beauty was a real fairy. The girl said that even if his grandfather is an inner hall elder, it won't help him. This stranger turned out to be Ye Lingyan, a saint of the Qingshuan sect. Lingyan added that in that case, she would destroy this guy without a second thought. Shen shouted that this was outrageous. Lingyan may not even think that just because she is a sect saint, she can do whatever she wants and say whatever she wants. The guy asked, how dare she threaten him, the outstanding Shen Yunfeng. In the same instant, a sword point appeared in front of his eyes. The guy fell silent, startled, and froze. His lower jaw sagged from fear. Lingyan, still holding his sword, asked who gave him permission to speak. Han thought that Shen, who had reached the cultivation level of the Zhuan Soul realm, was unable to resist even a single swing of Sister Ye's sword. Saint Ye ordered Shen to be taken back to the treatment net and handed over to the punishment hall. No one was allowed to interfere. Saint Ye walked up to the ragamuffin and apologized for failing to properly educate these disciples and causing so much trouble. Little Shi told Big Brother that Sister Ye was very beautiful. Ye Kangshuan didn't expect that this girl would have the world's rarest sword body with the highest degree of natural talent. In addition, it turned out that her surname was also Yi, and she has the title of Saint. Could she be a descendant of his great disciple Ye Qing? Ye Kangxuan said, "What good is it if she is beautiful?" As a result of practicing with the sword, she had contracted a serious illness and would soon die. Now Han intervened in the conversation. She called our hero names and asked how dare he talk such nonsense. Her sister had saved his life, and he didn't even thank her. Such an account and all sorts of fears are told. Ye Kangxuan said that the QI of 1,000 swords is not easy to practice. If one wants to solve this problem, one should prepare a VIP team for him and little she. Ye Kangxuan said that on top of everything else, she should come to his room alone at the 11th hour of the night. Everyone thought that this impostor had lost his mind. Han was indignant. How dare he ask a saint to come to his room alone in the middle of the night? Is he really seeking doom? Saint Ye thought that the 10-sword chi was created by Ye Qing's ancestor, and this technique was never passed down to outsiders. How could he possibly know? Saint Ye agreed, and said that she would come exactly at the appointed time. He should wait for her in his room at 11 p.m. The people around him couldn't understand what was going on. How did Saint Yi agree to such an indecent proposal? Ye Kangxuan said that they had an agreement. Turn around, he added that in that case, he was leaving first. Ye Kangxuan treated his new acquaintance to a meal. She got full and drank to his heart's content. After eating, the boy looked at the snake and said that there seemed to be a human figure moving inside that small snake. There was indeed an elder inside the snake, who shouted for those rascal beggars to let him out immediately. Night had fallen. The time was approaching 11. She, tired, fell asleep right at the table. Saint Yi appeared on the doorstep. The girl said that she had come as promised. Ye Kangxuan said if it had happened a little later, the pure yang energy in her body would have exploded. Then even the gods wouldn't have been able to save her. The girl wondered again, how did this guy know about pure yang energy? It is the strongest energy that bursts out of the body interval by interval. With every attack, the body will burn as if one is being burned alive. It causes unbearable pain, but only the master knows about it. How did this guy know about it? Saint Yi said that although the person talking to her can see the fiery energy within her, the master has already suppressed it. He shouldn't try to intimidate her. Ye Kangxuan heard the suppression version and laughed. The guy said that if she was so sure, then let her try to block his pure yang sword attack, Saint Yi said as she pleased and thrust her sword forward. As expected, the girl was unable to repel the attack. She wondered, why did Qi's pure flame change direction? How was this possible? Ye Kangxuan said that her soul threads were burned by the flame energy, attracting it to accumulate inside. Therefore, 2 of the 3 apertures were blocked. Her master is a fool. He didn't say that Grandmaster Ye's 10-pointed sword ki is not complete, and practicing this technique only destroys the wielder. If the girl continues, she will go insane. Her sword ki is burning her heart from the inside out. She will become the youngest saint of the Qingzuan cult. The girl screamed that it wasn't true. Master would never lie. Ye Kangxuan said, so she thinks her master's sword chi is better than his? Immediately, he showed the girl his sword chi. Saint Ye was surprised after all. It was a pure yang sword ki. With his level, how could he get his hands on such a sword? Ye Kangxuan clenched his fist forcefully and said that there were many things that she had never even dreamed of. Neither her master nor the Qingxuan clan can save her. Only he can help Saint Ye. Ye Kangxuan asked rhetorically, why would he do this? After all, she is not his sister. Ye Kangxuan said, however, if Miss Saint Ye wants to become his servant, she should transfer to the Qingxuan clan. All the expenses and maintenance would fall on her. The girl said for this guy not to be so arrogant just because she needs his help. The guy said that if he didn't respect the Qingxuan cult, he wouldn't have made her his maid, but their contract would only be for 6 months, and then she was free. The girl thought that this guy is really crazy, but he speaks so confidently, as if he knows everything in the world. Saint Yi agreed and said that she could provide such a thing, but he must suppress the fiery qi energy within her. Ye Kangxuan touched her face and said that he would not offend the girl if she agreed. Saint Yi felt that his qi suppressed the fiery yang energy. He wasn't lying. Who was he anyway? The healing process happened in this room. Ye Kangshuan, using his powerful internal energy, placed his hands on the girl's back and began the healing procedures. Saint Ye glowed. Ye Kangshuan told the girl during the treatment process, no matter how much pain she was in, she should be patient. The patient tolerated. At one point, the girl screamed. She told the doctor to be gentle, for she was still a child. Nurse Han stood on the other side of the room, leaning her ear against the door, and listened. Using her good hearing and fertile imagination, she drew a picture of what was happening. The girl was shocked. This wasn't what they were doing, was it? Sometime after the curing procedure, Saint Ye was sleeping peacefully beside little Shi. Ye Kangshuan thought that it was good that it ended safely. If a little more time had passed, this girl's life would have been in danger. The guy brushed the sweat off his face. Ye Kangshuan thought that the incomparable swordsman's body was indeed something amazing. It seems like old man Ye Qing had made a successful bet. In the morning, all three of them went out for some fresh air. Saint Ye looked rejuvenated and refreshed. Ye Kangshuan looked sleep-deprived. The passers-by thought that Saint Yi looked just great, however. Everyone had heard those strange sounds last night. Ye Kangshuan told his new maid that they would fly together on her sword. Saint Ye could show him the area around Qingshuan sect. The girl lowered her head and said that she obeyed her master. Little Z hugged Saint Ye and said that it was simply marvelous. The sword gradually began to gain height. The girl said for everyone to hold on tight. Everyone grabbed onto it and began to hold on tight. Han, as she saw off the flying people with a glance, thought, how could Big Sister Ye suddenly show such respect for a beggar? This time, there would be a scandal in the Qingshuan sect. Qingshuan sect was located on a high elevation in the sky amongst the mountains. It was simply a magnificent location. The sect's gate was very majestic. The candidates said that when they passed the test and became outer sect disciples, they would be able to glorify their parents, but the tests at the outer gate were very difficult, so they must pull themselves together and not embarrass the Qianzhou disciples. After landing, our hero asked his new acquaintance where she planned to place them. Ye Kangshuan asked why the girls didn't invite them to stay at her St. Peak. It would be easier for her to serve him that way. Han said that this stinky beggar had attached himself to Ye's elder sister in St. Peak and decided to taste the meat of a swan by being a toad. It's a sneaky plan. Han asked, what did this rascal do to Sister Ye last night? She is interested in the details. Why did Sister Ye call him master after that? Ye Kangshuan asked what she thought a single man and woman alone in a room could do together. It was just a hot and indescribable process. If she didn't understand what it was about, he could show her in person. Saint said that she would arrange a suitable accommodation for young Master Ye as soon as possible. Moving aside, the girl said that she first wanted to bring the disciples from Changzhou to the Qingshuan Hall Square. Han told our hero that the exam had begun. When he enters the Qingshuan Heavenly Network Great Information, he should behave carefully so that he wouldn't be frightened. Ye Kangshuan said that there was nothing in this world that could scare him. Qingshuan Main Square. Ye Kangshuan said that it was very sunny and crowded. How long do they have to wait? He said for the maid to bring his master a chair. How long does he have to wait? Saint Yi bowed and said that she would fulfill everything now. Han was surprised and shouted that this guy was not her master and she should not listen to him. Saint Yi ordered the disciples to hurry up and go to the examination ground. She has important things to do later. The disciples saw a strictly beautiful girl and immediately realized that it was Her Majesty Saint. Everyone marveled at her majesty and beauty. Suddenly, there was an explosion. Many disciples who were in the epicenter of the explosion began to fly in different directions. Many were asking for help. Many were shouting to get out of here. The student said with consternation that this year's test was too difficult. There would definitely not be enough strength to pass it. This is the Qingshuan Heavenly Network formation, and it really isn't that easy. Elder Zhengping sadly said that these candidates can't even stand up to the lower-grade Flamebird and the rest of the Tiger. The training of these disciples leaves much to be desired. Ye Kangshuan, looking at this picture, suggested that this year's recruitment of disciples would be terrible. The slightest difficulty, and these disciples are already frightened. The disciples looked at the author of these words. It was an unknown person who was being served by Saint E herself. This strange man did not calm down. He said that this was truly a true disgrace. The elder was astonished. Does he really see HH the saint? And who is this beggar? Could it be the saint's own father? Where did this stinking beggar come from? He has made their favorite goddess wave her plumage, for I need to destroy him immediately. Han, satisfied, thought the crowd immediately realized what was at stake here. The young-looking Ye Kangzuan asked in bewilderment, what was the big deal? After all, this girl is 3,000 years younger than him. What's so wrong with serving an old man like him? The young men who appeared were outraged. How dare he? Sister Ye is a saint of the Qingxuan sect, and the three of them, outstanding members of the outer group, had come to take the exam to get close to Her Majesty the Saint. Meanwhile, some beggar dared to force the saintess to serve him. This is indeed a blatant insolence. The three outstanding members of the outer group were Lei Tao, Yun Lunji, and Chu Changfeng. Looking at our hero, they made a threatening appearance. The elder thought that this was a good guy, worthy of being a disciple of the outer sect with such an outstanding talent. He might be able to resist the power of the four elements at the same time. Someone said that these three guys were extremely talented and had been noticed by the sect elders. Against the rules, they could become inter-sect disciples. Han thought that these three guys represented the strongest disciples this year. The beggar went too far in bragging about his relationship with Sister Ye. Sister Han was curious to see what this beggar would do now. Ye Kangxuan took his time finishing his soft drink. Ye Kangxuan said that the three of them had broken the Qingxuan heavenly network formation in one stick of incense. All three of them arrogantly looked at this beggarly stranger. The young men approached our hero and said that the saintess cared for him very much. One would think that his strength is extraordinary. Yun Lunji came closer and said that in that case, they wanted to see what this guy could do and called him a stinking beggar. The surrounding people laughed. They too were curious to see how this guy would embarrass himself further. They decided that something interesting was about to happen. Ye Kangxuan interjected, "Did they really want him to go up and try it?" Ye Kangxuan said that he would instantly break this formation. Even an ordinary person could break it. He doesn't understand why these three and the surrounding people are gloating so much. Lei Tao shouted, "How did he have the tongue to say such a thing? Ordinary people wouldn't even be able to come close to this place." Chu Chengfeng asked, "Why is Brother Lei angry? If this beggar dared to say such a thing, then he would be able to prove his words. If even an ordinary mortal could break it, why wouldn't he be able to demonstrate it? He'll be able to show it to everyone here, right? This beggar is so arrogant, why doesn't he step up and demonstrate? Don't tell me he can't." Ye Kangxuan repeated that even ordinary mortals can break the formation, but he is not a mortal. So how can he go and demonstrate it himself? Ye Kangxuan turned to the saint. Why can't she see that there is no more wine in the cup? She should rather fill it up. The saint said that she obeyed her master. In her heart, the girl was indignant. How dare he ask her, a saint, to serve him and pour the wine in public? While pouring the wine, the girl asked her master, "Could the heavenly net formation be destroyed even by mortals?" Ye Kangxuan was surprised. Even she no longer believed his words. Saint Ye said that she just wondered how it was possible that a mortal could break this formation. After all, it was a 5th grade Zhuan formation. Drinking another glass of refreshment, Ye Kangxuan said, "So be it. Since even she is curious, he will satisfy everyone." The guy stood up to his full height and said that he would show everything now. Ye Kangxuan called out little Shi playing with the stones and told her to come over. Ye Kangxuan whispered in the little girl's ear the plan of what she should do next. He explained what to do after she reached the formation. The little girl told her big brother that she was off. Ye Kangxuan replied that she could have fun. The serious disciples were outraged. What kind of fun are we talking about? Did he really think that a formation breakthrough was some kind of game? even sending a child to do such a thing. Saint E asked Master, was he really going to let Z break the formation? After all, she had never even practiced before. Ye Kangshuan asked, if she started practicing, wouldn't she stop being mortal? The disciples were outraged. This guy letting a mortal, and moreover a little girl, penetrate the information. This is a real surprise. After all, he had sent a little girl to certain death in front of the entire crowd. C walked up to the formation and said that this was exactly what her big brother was telling her. Everyone around them held their breath as they watched what was happening. Sai raised her foot and prepared to step on the formation. Those watching even gritted their teeth from the exertion. The child's foot sank to the ground. Around the girl, flames blazed. Hot air was blowing in her face. She stood motionless on the mysterious formation. She looked up and said that it was beautiful. Is this really the formation that Big Brother was talking about? She began to run from place to place. She remembered that she had to go 3 squares forward, then go 4 squares to the left. Expectedly, a terrifying monster appeared in the sky. It was the power of the 4 elements, the first image. Knowledgeable people said that it was the spirit of the north in the form of a turtle with a snake instead of a tail, Xuan Wu. Saint E told her master that although the monster moved slowly, it had a very wide attack radius. Will the girl be all right? After all, she has no cultivation. Ye Kangshuan said that one should just observe. Someone shouted out that Xuan Wu was attacking. She continued to change her dislocation. Now she had to go left through 4 squares. She remembered all of her mentor's words. Now one must sit down and count to 3. Next, the girl must stand up and walk forward 5 squares. Next move, stop, close her eyes and count to 4. C stood with her eyes closed and counted. The serious students didn't understand how this was possible. How could she close her eyes in the heavenly net formation? It must be an illusion. The 3 of them used up 50% of their strength to block it. Saint E was pleased with the girl. She thought it was excellent, a wide radius attack, and she actually avoided it. However, the girl saw that she continued to move forward, approaching the terrifying monster. She repeated 3 squares forward, then 3 squares to the left, and finally 1 square forward. The next moment, a cute little turtle appeared in front of the little girl. The girl sounded it out. Sai took the animal in her arms and asked if the turtle would play with her. In the sky, the fiery spirit monster roared and brutalized. She held the beastie in her hands and rejoiced. The serious disciples were shocked. It had been less than 1 stick of incense after all. How was she able to destroy Xuan Wu's strength from the first image? This way of destroying the formation was too incredible. Could even mortals really destroy the formation? Another burned incense stick passed by. C held a cute little red bird in her arms. Time passed for 2 burned incense sticks. C was offering her friendship to a little white cat. After 3 burned incense sticks, Sai had another little critter in her arms. The girl asked why this green snake also had paws. She returned to Ye Kangshuan and said that there were indeed 4 cute little beasts. The serious disciples and everyone around them couldn't understand how the girl even did this. How did she really destroy the formation? Her older brother was asked if she could keep these beasties for herself. Ye Kangshuan replied that it was fine with him. Ye Kangshuan said that this Qingshuan heavenly network formation should have been destroyed 1,000 years ago. The formation created by the 5th grade beast cores had so many flaws that even a mortal could pass through it. This test makes no sense at all. The older disciples were indignant. How dare he say such things? This was a formation that had been passed down for 1,000 years, yet the little girl had passed it. Saint Ye, pouring more wine, asked, "What does her master mean by this? Is her master planning to create a better formation to sect Qingshuan?" Ye Qingshuan said that this girl is calculating and is already thinking of how to use him. Saint Ye said that the Lord is so strong that creating a higher level formation would be a simple matter for him. Ye Kangshuan said that if the girl serves him well, he would probably organize a formation for her. Saint Ye smiled and said that they had an agreement. In her heart, the girl thought that this guy was overreacting again. Ye Kangshuan didn't expect that after 1,000 years, the Qingxuan sect would still treat such old-fashioned formations as treasures. It was a simple formation that he once used to catch birds and created it by chance. Ye Kongxuan asked the senior disciples, now that the formation was destroyed, did they still have any more questions? There was a reply that there were no more questions. The senior disciple thought, how could this happen? The formation they had worked so hard to break was easily broken by a little mortal girl. The senior disciples thought that it was a slap in the face for them, but they still couldn't say anything about it. There was a lack of arguments. One of the disciples said that it was just a trick. It wasn't based on his true abilities. Ye Kongxuan reached out and said that there were no disciples who could attract any attention. The guy added that these three are still very arrogant. They are truly worthless. Ye Kongxuan left everyone and said that he was going for a walk. He told Saint Ye to keep an eye on little Z. The girl told her master that there were many forbidden places in the Qingxuan sect that were very dangerous. Ye Kongxuan turned around and said that he knew the place better than her. Saint Ye was very surprised to hear such a sentence. Ye Kongxuan walked to the cliff and said that first, he wanted to find a place where he could get a good night's sleep. Ye Kongxuan jumped off the air island and landed on the ground. Ye Kongxuan said that unexpectedly, there were still people in the Qingxuan sect who could make spiritual wine. He should try it to see how well this wine is made. The guy unsealed one jug of wine and wanted to take a few sips. Suddenly, some old man grabbed his hand. The old man shouted, "How dare this kid steal his wine?" The old man wanted to take the wine jug away from the kid and told him to put it back immediately. Ye Kongxuan did not agree. Ye Kongxuan asked what would happen if he didn't put it back. The formidable old man said that he would have to destroy it. Ye Kongxuan tensed his steel muscles, and the old man couldn't move his hand out of place. The elder wondered where this kid got such strength from. He asked, "From which peak did this rascal descend?" Ye Kongxuan wanted to remain incognito and asked, what did the old man care where he was from? Our hero said that he had his eye on Ye Jianshuan Peak and wanted to stay here. The guy managed to unseal the jug after all, and he took a sip of wine. The old man said angrily, "What kind of old rascal raised and trained such a little brat? If this fellow dared to be so bold, then he was willing to take the place of his master. And give him a good discipline training." Ye Kongxuan asked, "Why is this annoying old man so testy?" The guy said that this old man seems to be completely stunted as well. He doesn't have enough degrees in his body. Ye Kongxuan said for the interlocutor to drink a little of his unpalatable alcohol. Then he will calm down and the world will shine with different colors. The old man was furious. How dare he say that his alcohol is tasteless? This lousy man can say anything but such words. The obnoxious old man's eyes glistened with hatred, and he said he was going to teach this boy how to say the right words. The old man still couldn't catch our hero. The boy slipped out of his hands and continued to consume this drink. The old man threatened and said that he would make this young man a cripple and keep him around as a drinking buddy. Ye Kongxuan said that although this old man's temper was fiery, but he was just as much of a liquor drinker. It could be said that they were even similar in some ways. The guy threw the jug of wine directly at the old man. Ye Kongxuan added that he didn't mind accepting the old drunkard as his companion on Jianshuan Peak. The old man flew far back after receiving the jug in his chest. He even flipped several times. The old man landed and fell to his knees. The boy determined that this old man wasn't weak, but he had too many wounds, making him unable to use his full strength. The young man decided to infiltrate the room. He was curious if there was any alcohol in this abandoned hall. The old man asked the lad to stop. He said that there was nothing there. Ye Kongxuan looked around and told the old man not to enter without his permission. Otherwise, he would have to beat him up. What the young man saw in front of him was admirable. He mentally praised the old man for being able to do something like that. The guy figured that he could find top-quality alcohol here. Ye Kongxuan didn't expect that this old man could make alcohol of such superior quality. Our hero thought that this alcohol might be the best in this world, and few people in the upper world are able to make it. Ye Kongxuan pushed off well and jumped onto this huge structure. He succeeded the first time. Ye Kongxuan looked at the liquid in front of him and thought that the taste of this top-quality alcohol would not disappoint him. However, What the guy saw inside really surprised him. He thought, who is in front of him? Wasn't this the witch locked up in the prison hall? There was a girl floating in the liquid in front of him. How come her soul was able to come out? The girl opened her eyes and thought, who was in front of her? Why had this man disturbed her sleep? The girl jumped up and shrieked in terror that she had been found. This was not part of her plans. The girl immediately rushed away from this liquor vessel. Ye Kangshuan thought that she was running away very fast, but what was the point? One could run away, but one could not escape. The immortal spiritual energy of this high-grade alcoholic beverage had been completely sucked out by this witch's soul. Without immortal spiritual energy, the flavor should be weakened by at least 90%. Ye Kangshuan jumped to the ground and headed for the exit of this room. He didn't understand how could one do such a wasteful thing. Ye Kangshuan decided that this girl should be punished. The grief-stricken old man was lying amongst the ruined wine jars. The liquid was spilled everywhere. He had read that he had been making this alcohol for 9 years, and now it was all gone. Ye Kangshuan approached the old man and told him not to worry. His alcohol in that tripod was fine. He had one question for the old man. The old man stood up and took the lotus posture. He said it was very good that the wine was fine. The obnoxious old man pointed his finger at his interlocutor and asked, who was he? Ye Kangshuan replied and said that he was now asking questions. The old man got scared, ducked his head, and said that the guy could ask him anything. Ye Kangshuan asked the old man if there was anyone besides him on this Jiangshuan peak. The old man said that this peak was abandoned 2,000 years ago. Ye Kangshuan replied, in that case, does the old man know if there are any forbidden places on this Jiangshuan peak? The old man started to deny everything. He has been living here for hundreds of years. If there was a forbidden place here, he would know about it for sure. There is nothing amazing about this peak except for its size. Ye Kangshuan said that he understood everything. In that case, he has some business to attend to and is leaving. The old man can have fun here in peace. The old man looked after the departing young man and thought, who is this guy with such a smug look? Our hero came to the Zhenyu Hall. He thought that it seems like the old man was right. This place hasn't been visited for over 2,000 years. No wonder this witch's soul was able to come out. In front of our hero stood a monument in his honor. It was covered in cobwebs all over. Ye Kangshuan said that no one had come to the prison hall to maintain the formation for over 2,000 years. Ye Kangshuan said that the power of the formation must have been exhausted long ago. Ye Kangshuan motioned in the right direction and said that it must be here. The doors in front of our hero swung open and he entered the next room. The guy found himself in a prison room. On either side were prison cells. In one of them he saw a skeleton inside. Near the skeleton's hands were red-colored characters. 2,000 years have passed. The Qingshuan sect does not teach virtues. The sect mistreats its prisoners. He is dying of starvation. Someone should help him because it hurts too much. Ye Kangshuan thought that 2,000 years ago this bloodthirsty general of the demon sect had actually died of starvation. Ye Kangshuan looked around and saw more petty thieves who had also died of starvation. Someone said that 2,600 years had passed. After he left, he never came back. There was a little demoness behind bars who said that he could at least come and keep her company after he tricked her into coming here with all those pretty words. Now there is only this old man on Jiangshuan Peak, and his energy is so strong that her spirit can't even get close to him. That was Tang Yuyu. Every day all she can do is sneak in and draw out some aura, but that's not enough for her. If it continues like this, sooner or later she will starve to death here. Tang Yuyu started cursing. If he was going to go somewhere, why did he have to close this place down? At least there could at least be someone to deliver food. The girl heard footsteps. She thought, had the sect disciple finally discovered this place? Tang Yuyu released her magic charms to affect the visitor. Ye Kangshuan thought that this girl was still here and still deceiving people the same way. Undoubtedly, he was right to seal this place before going to the upper world. Otherwise, if a sect disciple was successfully fooled by this witch and let her out, chaos would ensue. Tang Yu saw the person on the other side of the grate and thought that he was caught. She decided to use on this spell the last crumbs of her qi. Tang Yu thought that all the blame lies on Ye Kangshuan. He was the one who imprisoned her for 2,800 years. She wouldn't miss the opportunity to break free and take revenge. The witch was going to find him, imprison him, and make him her plaything. And for the rest of his life, he would only be with her. Tang Yu asked the visitor, was he here to save her? Ye Kangshuan shouted for the witch to stop this immediately. He still hadn't forgiven her for just depriving him of high-quality alcohol. Tang Yu asked in surprise, did she really deprive him of this divine drink? Tang Yu clarified, does he mean wine? The girl thought, this guy doesn't even have the basics of cultivation. This person is a new disciple who just joined the sect. Such people are the easiest to deceive. The girl asked, what good is this wine? If he let it out, he would have more fun with it than with a glass of wine. Tang Yu ran her finger across her upper lip. With a wink at the guy, she said that the time he spent with her he would remember forever. Ye Kangshuan asked, does this girl really dare to bewitch him? She had become a little bolder after more than 2,000 years of his absence. The girl wondered, who was he? Had they really met? Isn't he a new disciple of the sect? Ye Kangshuan asked, since when did a demon from the Lust Demon sect determine people by relying on his views? Couldn't she sense his aura? Tang Yu said that this aura was very familiar to her. The girl closed her eyes and tried to remember. Tang Yu yelled out that it was Ye Kangshuan's aura. Is it really him? Then she shook her head and said that there was still a slight difference. Tang Yu grabbed the bars with her hands and shouted that she couldn't believe it. The girl was very angry. Her eyes became bloodshot. Was it really Ye Kangshuan's descendant in front of her? Tang Yu said that she wanted to know who his mother was, and she would definitely destroy her. How dare she steal her man? And she kept wondering why he hadn't appeared for over 2,000 years. So he has a new love. Tang Yu angrily asked, did his mother send him here on purpose? To show her that she had stolen Ye Kangshuan from her? Otherwise, who else but Ye Kangshuan's family could know about this dungeon? Ye Kangshuan sadly thought that he hadn't even gotten married yet. What kind of son could he be talking about? The girl continued to wail. Ye Kangshuan even already has a son, and she still won't be released. And they also let this boy humiliate her. Ye Kangshuan asked the girl, when did she have such a vivid imagination? The guy reached out his hand to the head of the girl he was talking to and lightly flicked her forehead. Tang Yu threw her head back and screamed. She said that she was in pain. The girl held her head with her hand and said that it was not enough that his father abused her. Even he dares to mock her. If he had the courage to let her out, she would die, but take him with her. Ye Kangshuan sat down opposite the girl on the other side of the bars and asked, has she not noticed yet? Ye Kangshuan looked at the girl in the eyes and said that he was Ye Kangshuan. The girl shouted for him not to try to deceive her. He resembled his father, but there was still a slight difference. Although his father was in the body-refining realm, he at least had cultivation. Her interlocutor has no cultivation at all. Tang Yu continued with her fantasies. What does it mean that this guy is Ye Kangshuan? Is he impersonating his father just to engage in this very thing with her? Ye Kangshuan responded by sadly stating that she had lost her mind in over 2,000 years of confinement. Ye Kangshuan stretched his hand forward and told the girl to come closer. He enveloped her with his magical internal energy and tried to scan her. Our hero touched his finger to his interlocutor's temple and said that obviously she was just a little girl. The guy added for her to stop pretending to be an adult. This technique of charming her demon sect, as she should have already realized from the past, was ineffective against him. The interlocutor had become a child again. She asked angrily, how dare he cancel her transformation? Tang Yu asked with a disgruntled look, why is he pointing his finger at her head? Ye Kangshuan patted the girl's cheeks and asked, what's wrong with being a cute little girl? Why become an adult when you can be carefree and free? And she forgot again what happened the last time she tried to charm him. Tang Yu remembered the last time she got kicked around by this guy. The girl had cried and yelled that she was wrong and wouldn't do it again. That time, taking advantage of the lack of ceiling formations in the dungeon, She had slipped away using the transformation technique. Tang Yu thought that once she got this guy, the Qingzhuan clan would belong to her. Besides, before releasing her after 100 years of imprisonment, he told her not to return to the sect. Her status as a saint didn't really mean anything. In the end, he was the one who saved her. After saying that, Ye Kangshuan asked, in her opinion, who did she think he was? The girl looked into the guy's eyes and said that he was actually the one Ye Kangshuan was. Tang Yu cried and called the person she was talking to a rascal. Why did he leave her here for so long and didn't come back until now? The girl told him not to dare to go anywhere else. She wouldn't let him go until he let her out. Tang Yu said that she has been sad and lonely in this basement for 2,600 years. There's not even anyone to talk to. Tang Yu added that there wasn't even food in this basement. He acted inhumanely. Ye Kangshuan said that the girl knew him. Back then, he was still too obsessed with martial arts. After he had no rivals left in the city, he went to the upper world and made his way to the list of the strongest. Tang Yu asked, had he really been fighting for over 2,000 years? Then why had his appearance changed? Ye Kangsuan waved his hands and said that once he died, although he left the possibility of retreating to Changzhou, there was a small problem when he reassembled his body, but at least he survived. Tang Yu couldn't believe it. Had he really died once? The girl asked how his health was now. She wanted to run diagnostics and touch him. Tang Yu inquired if his origin was affected. The girl asked who had the audacity to destroy him. She was willing to deal with that rascal. Ye Kangshuan said that although there was no strength left in him now, there were only a few people who could compete with him. Ye Changshuan told this little girl to never call herself an old lady. He rubbed her nose like they do with little children. Tang Yu said that she is no longer a little girl, she is a big girl. She has been here for over 2,000 years. Regardless of age or anything else, she is no longer a little girl. Ye Kangshuan asked with genuine surprise, does this girl really want to go free? Tang Yu replied that she really wants to. She has been here for so long that she will suffocate from this place until she dies. Ye Kangshuan said that he had previously locked her here because she could make trouble in his absence, and with her natural charm, making trouble is easy. He had returned, so there was no need to worry about it anymore. Ye Kangshuan thought that it was really a bit cruel to keep a little girl locked up for over 2,000 years. The guy said that he had 3 conditions anyway. Tang Yu said that she would fulfill all the conditions. First, no reincarnations. Second, no walking more than 5 steps away from him. Third, no calling herself an old woman. Tang Yu asked incredulously, was it really that simple? The girl found herself free and rushed over to hug the guy. She knew he still loved her. He wouldn't have the hand to be cruel to her. Ye Kangshuan told her to get off him. The girl refused. All these years, he has been disappearing and leaving her here alone, and after that, he still won't let her get close to him. Tang Yu made herself comfortable on the guy's shoulder and said that now she wanted to have a very thick dinner. Passers-by looked at the stone wall in amazement and thought, what kind of innate potential is this? It was amazing that 2 colors could develop at the same time, and that both of them had reached the saint rank level. Saint Yi thought that this was the dual Taoist body. It's a saint body that is rare even in 10,000 years, and it's also the ice and fire attributes that can cultivate both yin and yang. She asked, how can this stone steely glow by itself? The senior disciple said with surprise that this little girl was actually a saint rank saint, an innate potential saint who was destined to amaze everyone, and they had wronged her earlier. Suddenly, someone said in a menacing voice that he would take her. Everyone looked around and saw that it was an elder. The elder had indeed come in person. Would this little girl immediately enter the inner gate? Elder Zhao Changkong did not expect such an amazing physique to appear in this entrance exam. Suddenly, someone said for Elder Zhao not to dare to eat alone. These old men flew over so quickly. Shenhui Peak Master Elder Yuxuan said that this girl is a wonderful talent, she should go to her peak. Tuntian Peak Master, Zuo Tuntian, said that a colleague already has a saint, this teenager should be given to him. Lu Sibei, Yunxing Peak Master, said that his peak is the best place for knowledge and books. so the girl will be better off at his place. Elder Zhao asked, "Why all this talk? Couldn't this be solved in order of priority?" After all, he was the first one. The colleagues disagreed. Yuxuan said that this elder isn't even a peak master. Is he thinking of still stealing this disciple? Tuntian said that this old man doesn't even have the resources. What's the point of taking this kid to him? Although old man Zhao is strong, but he said himself that he loves freedom and doesn't want to become a peak master. What's the point of this talk? The old man has anathematized his colleagues. After all, they had taken over the position of peak masters themselves, and afterward, they were saying how hard it was for them to be peak masters. Another elder appeared in the sky and told everyone to stop talking about that girl. The elder said that he was taking this girl and suggested that they stop debating about it. The people thought, who is this man? Why is he so unrestrained? It turned out to be the supreme elder of the Qingzhen sect. The old man asked the other elders, did they really think that he no longer had the right to this disciple? Yuxuan saw the supreme elder and said that they were out of luck again. Tuntian asked in surprise, shouldn't this old man be in seclusion? Lu Sibei sadly said, just when a promising talent appeared, it is being taken away from under his nose again. Supreme Elder Tai Kong said that he didn't expect to encounter such a great talent right after coming out of seclusion. With such innate potential, she would surely inherit his legacy perfectly and even surpass it. All the elders bowed in unison and said that they were happy to meet the Supreme Elder. The old man said that they didn't need to be so polite this time, as he was taking away their disciple. Tai Sang added that if they still had any objections about it, of course everyone could speak up. Zhao Changkong said that the Supreme Elder is too serious. He is willing to accept a new disciple, that's great. They can't object to it. Tai Kong suggested that the other peak masters also don't mind. Now none of them will take on this disciple. All the peak masters congratulated the Supreme Elder on his new disciple and wished him prosperity and longevity. Tai Kong told everyone that he was now ready to take them to meet his wonderful disciple. Saint Yi bowed and said that she was happy to meet the Supreme Elder. Tai Kong told Ling Yan not to be so polite in his presence. One of the senior disciples thought, why was a little beggar like this girl able to attract even a Supreme Elder's attention just because of her innate potential? Obviously, he should be the main figure in this exam. He should be the one at the center of attention. The old man approached the girl and said that he was the Supreme Elder of the Qingzhen sect, and he would be her teacher from now on. She said that Big Brother had said that he would be her teacher, and that other than him, no one in the Qingzhen sect was worthy of being her teacher. The Supreme Elder inquired, who is this Big Brother this girl is talking about? A senior disciple approached Elder Tai Kong and said that he knew something about this person. The disciple said that the guy the girl was talking about was an extremely arrogant beggar. Not even a drop of cultivation could be felt from him. It's unclear how he managed to get here, but he was asked to prove himself in the exam. He found all sorts of excuses to deceive others and spoke with great arrogance. Moreover, Saint Yi had personally served him. It was probably one of Saint Yi's outsider lovers. Elder Tai Tsang thought with horror, was all of this really true? The old man asked Ling Yan if what this person said was true. Was she really serving a beggar? Saint Yi replied that it was indeed true. The girl added that it was not at all what Grandpa Tai Kong thought. The old man became enraged and stomped his foot on the ground. Was all this not a conspiracy, but the true truth? Tai Kong was terrifying in anger. How dare a person without cultivation level somehow speak out about the Qingzhen sect? And how could Saint Yi be serving him personally? The old man said that he didn't know how Ling Yan was related to this person, but it was a disgrace to the entire Qingzhen sect. The old man said that this person should never be let go. Unexpectedly, Ye Qianshuan appeared with a little girl on his shoulder and asked, who should not be let go? The guy asked an additional question. He also wanted to know about it. The little girl sitting on his shoulder kept saying that she wanted to eat meat. Seeing our hero, Ling Yan said that finally the Lord has returned. Little Z rejoiced and waved her hand at her older brother. The unprincipled disciple was glad that this guy didn't come back. It's about time. This disciple walked up to the Supreme Elder and said that this was the arrogant beggar he had been warned about. The elder evaluated this stranger from head to toe with an experienced eye. He saw that he was surrounded by people who were happy to see him. Tang Yu jumped off his shoulder and ran up to little Z. She said that this child had a double Taoist physique. Tang Yu turned to Ye Kangshuan. Is this little girl really his disciple? The guy nodded affirmatively. Tang Yu patted her old buddy's back and said that he was able to find a very good talent. Little Z looked at this girl and said that she was very cute. Tang Yu was very surprised when she was called cute. She stroked Tang Yu's head and said that this is a cute little sister. She's Big Brother's disciple too, right? So she will be her little sister from now on. Tang Yu came to resent. It is her interlocutor who is the little sister. Who saw a child in her? After all, she is over 2,000 years old. Ye Kangshuan coughed a little and asked, Has Tang Yu forgotten his demands? The girl said that she misspoke. Ling Yan thought that her master and this little girl knew each other well. Tang Yu stood across from little Z. She was clearly shorter in stature, however. She stated that she was very even in size. Tang Yu said that she would not explain anything else. In any case, this girl should call her mother mentor. Ling Yan wondered, what kind of mother mentor are we talking about? Saint Ye turned purple with horror and asked, how could her master associate himself with this little child? Ye Kangshuan realized that the conversation had gone in an unnecessary direction. He slapped Tang Yu on the back and told her not to say any more nonsense. Tang Yu was indignant. Isn't she his woman? He kept her locked up for so long and did whatever he wanted to do to her, and now he wants to abandon her. The senior disciple thought that this beggar really has other women. However, what happened to the Supreme Elder? Why did he suddenly stop moving? The senior disciple told the Supreme Elder that this rascal didn't even spare a small child, and such a person had infiltrated the Qingxuan sect. The disciple added that this was a great shame to their Qingxuan sect. The elder, upon seeing this little girl, cried out in horror, how could this witch be here? Shouldn't she have been executed by her ancestors long ago? The elder remembered how in the old days people used to bow down to Her Majesty Yu and wished her long life, and called her the ruler of Kangzhou. The witch said that a little bit of her charm and they can't even remember their father's name. They are a real bunch of slaves. The Supreme Elder thought that this demoness had appeared again. He decided that he had to quickly leave. He couldn't let this demoness remember. If others found out what stupid things he had done in the past, his Supreme Elder prestige would be completely destroyed. A senior disciple asked how Elder Tai Kang could leave. This beggar cannot be allowed to stay here. The elder said that he just had an urgent matter. He wondered why this person was still causing him trouble. It was too late to leave. The girl noticed the old man and asked, It turns out he's here too? Tang Yu walked up to the elder and called him Little Chang. He thought it was a failure. Tang Yu pointed her finger at the elder and asked, So he really is Little Tsang, right? Everyone present at this conversation was terribly surprised. How dare she call a respected elder Little Chang? This was unheard of. The Supreme Elder was startled. This witch recognized him. How could this happen? After all, over 2,000 years had passed. The elder turned around and began to quickly walk away. He said that this wench was mistaken. Tang Yu looked at the astonished audience and asked, Isn't this person Tai Chang? Ling Yan said that the Supreme Elder's name was indeed Tai Chang. The little prankster said that she couldn't have mistaken anyone. She still had a good sense of smell and remembered the smell of all the slaves who had followed her before. Tang Yu patted the old man's hand and said that little Kang has risen quite well. He had become the Supreme Elder of the Qingxuan sect. She remembered the times when he was just an outer disciple. He didn't even have the right to speak in the sect and was bullied every day. The girl continued that it was then that she cast a pitying glance at him, saved him, and taught him a lesson to those bullies. Now that he has become a great elder, he doesn't want to recognize her as his elder sister. Ling Yan asked in surprise, Had Grandpa Tai Kang really been bullied before? The old man thought that thousands of years of wisdom had collapsed in one day. The elders, listening to this story with astonishment, thought it was fascinating. Did the Supreme Elder really have such an experience? This conversation was very amusing and should be immediately memorized. The Supreme Elder told the girl to keep some of his reputation. He thought that he should have continued to sit in seclusion and not come out of there. Lingyan realized that all of this was true. She asked her master who this girl was. What is this person's background? He knows someone from the same time as the Supreme Elder, and their relationship is not that simple. Ye Kangshuan said that this girl's name is Tang Yu. She is his close friend, but she often likes to cause trouble. Tang Yu pounced on our hero with an angry face. Is she a troublemaker? He himself locked her indiscriminately in a small prison room for 2,000 years. Elder Taitsong asked Yu who this person who locked her up for 2,000 years was. What was the purpose of him coming to the Qingshuan sect? Tang Yu was surprised. Doesn't little Tsang know him? The old man interjected with surprise. Should he really know this guy? Tang Yu remembered, after all, little Tsang was only a junior disciple of the outer sect back then, not allowed to meet big and respected people. Ye Kangshuan took the girl's hand. Tang Yu thought, does Ye Kangshuan really not want her to reveal his identity? In that case, the girl jumped on our hero's chest and said that he was her husband. Tang Yu added that he was too heartless. He had ruthlessly abandoned her for such a long time. She waited for him for a long time, thinking she would rather turn to stone than wait for him. Tang Yu told Lin Yan that it was not a problem if she was just going to be his maid or apprentice. However, she should not give in to his charms. He is very dangerous. Ye Kangshuan asked the girl if she was done. Tang Yu replied that there was nothing more to add. Ye Kangshuan said that he suddenly felt like locking her in the dungeon again. The girl shouted loudly for her husband not to do that again since she had just been released. Ye Kangshuan thought that if he had known about such consequences, he would never have let her out. Tang Yu said for little Tsang to hurry up and take her to eat the most delicious food in his Qingshuan sect. She was simply starving to death. Everyone interested followed the Supreme Elder. The Supreme Elder disciple remained standing like a stumbling block. The disciple thought that this beggar was truly favored by the people around him. In such a short time, not only had he bound Saint Ye to him, but also established a connection with the Supreme Elder. This person had stolen all the attention that wasn't meant for him. The Supreme Elder decided that he had to find a way to get rid of this person and regain everyone's attention to his person. Rumors began to spread through the city. It turned out that Saint E had become someone's personal servant. She must have been threatened. Besides, this person already has a wife. While walking around, a senior disciple decided to share the confidential information with his colleague. Only he asked that it be kept confidential. He told his interlocutor that she was caught by this beggar and she is forced to do indecent things every night. The co-worker said that they can't just let this man go. The fellow drew his sword and, thrusting it forward, rushed forward through the bamboo thickets. He shouted that he was going to save Saint E. The wily fellow thought that in less than 2 days, there would already be hundreds of disciples passing on these rumors. This news would spread throughout the entire sect. Now this beggar would not be able to come out of this whole scandal unscathed. A junior disciple ran into the room and slipped in, shouting that there was trouble. In the room, with a cup of tea in his hand, was Peak Master Yunxia's son, Liang Fei Fang. He asked, what was the panic? After all, he had already warned this guy many times. His generation of cultivators need meditation, calmness, and tranquility. This guy is so impulsive. If he continues like this, he will die early. The disciple told his master that it was about Saint E. It is said that this time an extremely arrogant disciple came to the entrance exam. This disciple found Saint E's weakness, made the saint his personal servant, and makes her do shameful things. Liang Fei became angry, jumped up from his chair, and asked, how did this happen? How dare a new disciple threaten their saint and force her to be his personal servant? He deserved the death penalty. Liang Fei immediately went to restore justice and told his disciple to prepare a palanquin. He would personally go to meet that person. The young men decided to have a snack. At the table were our hero, Saint E, and the children. The children were especially hungry and said that it was very tasty and were happy to have such food. Ye Kongshuan said that he was not hungry and shared his portion with little Z. Tang Yu tossed the girl aside and told her to switch places with her mistress. Tang Yu walked over to Ye Kongshuan and told her that she was very hungry. Ye Kongshuan inquired, "Does she really want him to feed her?" Ye Kongshuan put a chicken leg in the girl's mouth and told her to eat on her own. Tang Yu disagreed and bit the guy's hand. Ye Kongshuan screamed in surprise and pain. Ye Kongshuan indignantly asked, "Can't she just eat normally?" Tang Yu replied that as long as Qingzhuan fed her, everything would taste delicious. The elder thought that this was a real temptress. At first, he thought it was a joke, but it turned out to be serious. Watching our hero, the elder thought there was something wrong with this guy. To subdue and make this temptress become attached to him, he's definitely not someone to mess with. The junior disciples brought the young master on a stretcher and said that they had arrived. The guy saw that Lingyan was serving this young man and thought that this was a great impudence. There was no limit to his indignation. He read that it was very unfair. The master immediately drew his sword from its sheath and decided to restore justice. He sent a powerful energy charge in the direction of what he thought was the wrongdoer. Tang Yu, while finishing her chicken leg, said, "Someone has come to seek adventure. He probably wants a fight, right?" Ye Kongshuan immediately felt a sword chi being used against him. In the same instant, he pulled the chicken leg out of the girl's mouth and threw it towards the sword. The chicken leg flew forward with tremendous force and broke through the energy barrier. The master managed to deflect to the side at the last moment, and the chicken leg flew past. The young man turned around and saw the aftermath of the chicken's leg. Trees were fallen. Climbing off the stretcher, he drew his physical sword. He asked what kind of rascal dared to use a hidden weapon. He told Lingyan not to worry. He would immediately deal with the rascal and help her regain her freedom. Tang Yu asked indignantly, why did he throw away her leg? It's not like she hadn't eaten it yet. In that case, he should give her another chicken leg. There was nothing to do, so he had to grant the hungry girl's request. The master with the sword in his hand said that he had come to rescue Lingyan from enslavement and restore justice. Lingyan wondered what Liang Fei Fang was doing here. She told her master that he was Peak Master Yungxia's son. Perhaps he had misunderstood something and asked that she handle everything herself. Ye Kongshuan replied that it was fine with him. Fei Fang heaved a sigh of relief. Finally, Lingyan came out. Fei Fang told the girl not to worry, no matter who this person was or what kind of power he used, but now all her torment was over. As long as he is here, this guy won't hurt her anymore. Lingyan said that Fei Fang had misunderstood everything. That guy is not forcing her to do anything. It's all consensual. Fei Fang asked how she could agree to be his maid. The girl replied that it was her own decision. Moreover, the master is by no means a bad person. Fei Fan rolled his eyes. He didn't believe it. Most likely, that guy had threatened her to say exactly that. Fei Fan thrust his sword forward and told that rascal to come out immediately. How dare he use such vile methods to threaten Saint Ye? His final hour had come. Saint Ye told Fei Fang not to call her Lingyan, as the master might misinterpret it. The girl thrust her sword in the direction of her opponent and told him not to make her repeat it. Saint Ye added, furthermore, as the master's maid, she states that if Fei Fang wants to harm him, he should fight her first. The girl added that either Fei Fang will fight her and go after her master, or right now she will lose. Lingyan got tired of having an unnecessary conversation and swung her sword several times in front of her opponent. Lingyan said that she missed on purpose, but if he called her that again, this sword key would not miss and would reach its target. Fei Fan was discouraged. Is the girl really attacking him because of that rascal? Fei Fang thought that in order to make Lingyan as loyal and obedient to him, it was necessary to get her into his hands. He decided that this girl would belong to him. Fei Fang said that since the intersect competition 3 years ago, they had never fought once. Fei Fan said that he wanted to see how much the girl had advanced in the past 3 years. Lingyan wondered, did he really not want to leave amicably and decided to fight her? The girl once again swung her sword and said, so be it. Fei Fang hoped that if he won, the girl would not block his way. The battle began. Using sword and internal energy, each opponent tried to prove their superiority. However, what Fei Fang saw really astonished him. The girl had progressed a lot in these 3 years. How was this even possible? Fei Fan said that the opponent should now keep an eye on her sword. Ling Yan, using her internal reserves, began to deliver staggering blows at her opponent. Fei Fan and the trees around her suffered quite a bit of damage. The opponent thought that the girl had indeed developed the qi of the 10 fate swords to the level of great achievements. In the entire Qingshuan sect in the past 800 years, there was no one who had successfully cultivated the qi of the 10 fate sword qi to the realm of great achievements. Saint Ye said that this fellow dare not call her Lingyan. Fei Fang fell to his knees, threw aside his sword, and raised his hands up. He said that he had made a mistake. From now on, he would call the girl Saint Ye. Lingyan hid her sword in her scabbard and told Fei Fang to get out immediately. He was officially not welcome here. Fei Fan didn't understand how her strength could have increased so dramatically. Could it be because of that guy? Fei Fang said that in any case that guy should die, so he put his sword forward and decided to launch an attack on him. Lin Yan shouted to her master that danger was coming. Ye Kangshuan continued to feel the pressure of a small child. The little girl said that she wanted meat and wanted Ye Kangshuan to feed her. Tang Yu repeated that she just wanted to be fed by a non-visible person. The enraged Fei Fang thought that this guy deserved to be killed for enjoying the happiness they all seek. Due to the unfortunate attack, the table where the food was on was knocked over. The food ended up on the floor. Tang Yu almost cried out in grief. After all, her food was there. Ye Kengshuan said that he was quicker. That rascal almost spilled his wine. Tang Yu grabbed her attacker's sword with her bare hand and asked, how dare he do such a thing to her food? Does he even know the full value of the food? The girl's eyes read anger and disdain. Tang Yu pounced on the surprised Fei Fan with her fists. She said that she wasn't full yet. The guy's sword shattered into small pieces after the girl clenched her fist clutching that sword. Fei Fan didn't understand how this was possible. After all, this was his best sword. It was the strongest 4th grade weapon. Tang Yu was getting more and more angry. She said that she wouldn't forget what class his sword was and how good it was. Tang Yu grabbed the heavy table with one hand and raised it above her head. She asked once more, how dare this rascal drop her food? She would destroy him for this. Fei Fan saw her energy demonic beast towering over the girl. The young man experienced a powerful pressure. With the words that he destroyed her food, Tang Yu lowered the table right on top of her opponent's head. The girl did this a few more times. After she had a small shard of the table in her hand, she said that the table was fragile and broke easily. Tang Yu stated that she hated people who scattered food the most. The girl lifted another table above her head. Fei Fang asked for mercy. He told the girl to stop. The elder asked Big Sister Yu to stop. He said he would prepare another table with new food. The elder asked in surprise what Fei Fan was doing here. Can't the young man see that he is receiving a guest? The elder kicked the guy's ass and sent him on a short flight. In return, he told him to get out immediately. Tang Yu asked why it was so messy and told the younger disciples to clean up immediately. She hadn't had enough to eat yet. Lin Yan apologized to Master for all the noise. Ye Kangshuan, realizing the origin of this mess, said that he didn't see it as a problem. Ye Kangshuan said that one should increase one's stamina anyway. If the girl was in the outside world, such carelessness would destroy her. The Supreme Elder thought that Fei Fang had appeared here unexpectedly and tried to piss this guy off, but he remained calm the entire time. In addition to the demon child, even Lin Yan treats him the same way. What is his origin? Who is he really, and why did he come here? The elder asked, when did Lin Yan have time to learn the 10 Fate Sword Qi in the realm of great achievements? The girl bowed to the elder and said that she owed it all to her master's instruction. The Supreme Elder wondered, how could this guy help her? Does he even know what the QI of the 10 Fate Swords is? Ye Kangshuan said that he did know it. The elder asked where he learned the Qingshuan sect's supreme technique, the 10 Destiny Sword technique. Tang Yuyu intervened in the conversation and said that she was the one who taught him. Is a simple 6th grade martial art really worthy of being called a supreme technique? The elder said that even if Tang Yuyu looks down on this martial art, she can't spread it indiscriminately. Tang Yu was surprised that the old man was making a claim against her. Did he really want to fight with her? She added that she hadn't seen little Tsang for a long time and didn't think he had become so bold. The elder was startled and said that Sister Tang Yu must be joking. She can train whoever she wants, he dare not doubt it. The younger disciples brought a new table with new viands. Everything looked very appetizing. Tang Yu forgot about the squabbles and rushed towards the food. Little Shi kept up with her. The elder asked if Sister Tang Yuyu had not eaten for a long time. The girl replied that she hadn't eaten for a long time and was freezing. Right now, it would be better for her to stay out of the way. The Supreme Elder began to systematize the information he had received. The girl said that she had almost died of starvation and was freezing. Earlier, she said that she was locked up by her husband. Tang Yuyu hadn't been around for over 2,000 years. Could it be that this guy locked her up? And even after all this, she is still so loyal to this man. Moreover, this man has not had a cultivation base for over 2,000 years. It's impossible after all. The lifespan of a mortal is no more than 100 years. He is over 2,000 years old, and he still looks so young. So he's in the realm of the gods. Why did he come to this sect? The Supreme Elder turned to our hero and said that he still didn't know his name. With his accomplishments, this guy should have been famous in all of Kangzhou, if one knew his name. Everything else about him wouldn't be difficult. Little Shi said that she didn't know Big Brother's name either. Lin Yan said that she doesn't know either. Tang Yu telepathically asked Ye Kongshuan if she should change the topic of conversation. Ye Kongshuan telepathically replied that there was no need to. The guy resolutely placed the wine cup on the table and said that his name was Ye Kongshuan. The Supreme Elder and his granddaughter involuntarily shouted out in surprise. The elder questioned if the guy was really called that. After all, the founder of this sect is named exactly the same. Although it is a coincidence, maybe the guy has some ulterior motives and wants to claim the identity of his sect's ancestor? Ye Kongshuan looked at Tang Yu and told her to be quiet. He needs to concentrate. Tang Yu replied so the guy wouldn't worry. She, as a disciple of the devil sect, is professionally trained not to laugh. Tang Yuyu couldn't help herself and started laughing loudly. She apologized and said that she just couldn't help it. Heavenly punishment in the form of our hero's fist caught up with the laughing girl. After a bump appeared on her head, Ye Kongshuan asked if she wanted to laugh some more. Tang Yu, holding her head, said that there was nothing she could do about it. The elder began to suspect something. He asked if they were laughing at him now or trying to say that this guy was really the founder of his Qingshuan sect. Tang Yu was ready to laugh again. She told little Tsang not to ask her about it. Otherwise, she wouldn't be able to stop. The Supreme Elder was serious and asked his new friend to explain the meaning behind his name. The boy replied that it had been his name since he was born, but the elder was the first to ask about its meaning. The old man interjected, "Is this guy really trying to say that he is the founder of the Qingshuan sect?" The young man, without refuting or confirming this information, said that if the elder wants to think so, no one forbids him. The elder menacingly said that this sect has existed for over 2,000 years, and although it is now in decline, this is the first person who dared to impersonate the founder's ancestor. Tang Yuyu told little Tsang to calm down and talk calmly. The elder said it's very important. After all, this guy is impersonating the founder of his sect. Tang Yu replied that she didn't care if it was important or not. It wasn't as important as her husband. If the old man dared to disrespect her husband again, she would destroy him. The girl clung to our hero and said that she would always support him. Ye Kongshuan moved aside and told her to stay away from him. She can just eat her food. Elder Chang said that for the sake of Tang Yu's sister, he would leave this person alone, but he should no longer claim this name after all. It was the name of the ancestor of the sect founder. The guy thought that this was unexpected. Even though 2,000 years have passed, the Qingshuan sect still respects him. The elder said that from now on, It shouldn't be said that this guy is the founding ancestor of his sect. How could an immortal ancestor be such a mediocre person? The elder said that he had a single portrait of an ancestor that had been passed down. Every 100 years, when the supreme elder changes, the right to worship the founder ancestor is passed down to him. After a guy sees this portrait, he will clearly realize how foolish it is to impersonate the sect founder's ancestor. Ye Kongshuan thought that this was great. He hasn't died yet, and these people are worshipping him. The elder unrolled the scroll and showed the portrait of the sect founder to the young man. He said that this was what the ancestor founder looked like. On the scroll was a portrait of our hero. The old man said that this young man didn't have a single bit of the ancestor's temperament and appearance. How dare he call himself Ye Kongshuan with such mediocre looks? Tang Yu swiveled her head between our hero and the portrait on the scroll. Tang Yu laughed again and said that she couldn't believe that this guy was once so handsome. Ye Kongshuan angrily asked who drew this portrait. The young man asked the girl, how much longer will she laugh? The girl calmed down, apologized, and said that she just didn't expect to see such a thing. Tang Yu asked, was he really that handsome before? Ye Kongshuan repeated his question, who painted this portrait? The elder was surprised. Does the guy now want to question the authenticity of this portrait? Old Man Song said that the young man shouldn't even think of questioning its authenticity. This portrait was painted by the great disciple of the founder's ancestor, Qing Ye. It had been passed down from generation to generation. It could not be a fake. Ye Kongshuan remembered who the person in question was. He remembered that little girl who was trying to scribble something on a piece of paper. At some point, the little girl said that she had finished and was ready to show the drawing. Ye Kongshuan and Tang Yu looked at the drawing. The child said that she was a genius. Ye Kongshuan asked her not to draw anymore. Ye Kongshuan was surprised. Is this really Qing Ye's drawing? Could she really have drawn something like this? After all, it was too different from reality. The spiritual elder carefully rolled up the scroll and said that he couldn't be lying. It was definitely an ancestor's portrait. Elder Tsong said, the person in the portrait is definitely not this young guy. What are his intentions if he is impersonating an ancestor? Ye Kongshuan said that he just gave his name, and the rest was made up by the old man. Is he really qualified enough to not let the guy use his name? Ye Kongshuan grabbed the girl by the scruff of her neck and said that it was time for them to leave. She had already eaten quite a lot. Tonight is the night of the full moon. This is the best time to build the foundation. If they miss tonight, it's only next month they can lay the foundation for Ji Er. Little Z asked, what kind of foundation are we talking about? Ye Kongshuan replied that she would understand everything when the time came. When the guests left, the elder thought, would they really be laying the foundation on the night of the full moon? The supreme elder thought that maybe they were talking about the moon cauldron, but how could this person know about such a treasure? Besides, the moon cauldron had long disappeared. At Yungxia Peak, the young man told his father that he had been beaten up. He must be avenged. The boy added that his father should help him. The master of Yungxia Peak, Liang Yi Xiao, said that his son had gotten into trouble again. He didn't even do a proper investigation and got into trouble. Master asked who was personally invited to the feast by Supreme Elder Kang. The father said that his son keeps fooling around on ordinary days, but he doesn't pay attention to it. But now he fools around even at such critical times. Liang Yixiao grabbed his son by the throat and asked, does he really think that just because he is his son, he would dare to destroy him? The young man wheezed and said he was wrong. He was just following his father's instructions so that people from the Qingzhuan sect would not look down on him. The beaten son asked his father, what did he do wrong? Liang Yixiao thought that he had made a mistake raising such a child. The man told his son that he was just a fool. If he was still not useful, he would have been destroyed long ago. If this time his impulsiveness caused any problems with the plans he had devised, the guys would have a problem. Liang Yixiao added that in that case, he would definitely have to be destroyed. The father told his son that he would now go to apologize to the people invited by old man Tai Kang. He also wanted to know what kind of people Tai Kang had invited to the feast. Liang Yisho wanted to know if these people would disrupt his plans. Changshuan Peak, Moon Pavilion. The girl asked her brother if they had come yet. Ye Kangshuan replied that they would be there soon. Lin Yan asked if they were really going to the Moon Pavilion. The guy confirmed that they were. Ye Kangshuan said, she seems to already know that for Shi's physique, using the moon cauldron to purify the bone marrow and strengthen the veins is most suitable. Lin Yan said, just don't pay attention to it. They will all know once they get there. The expedition arrived at their destination. There were ruins all around. Was this really the place? Ye Kangshuan wondered what had happened here. Or Yan said that about 7 years ago, a strongest beast had broken into this place. At the same time, their sect was still considered the strongest in the city. They were the first to take the brunt of the invasion. The battles were bloody. The monsters posed a terrible threat. The battles lasted for 3 years. With many deaths and injuries, it was incredibly difficult. The time came when the humans won. At the end, the head of the Qingshuan sect led humanity to victory. But as everyone found out later, the monster raid was specially planned by several other sects. After the traitor destroyed the head, a dozen great sects immediately attacked Qingshuan. Fortunately, Ancestor Qing Ye possessed extraordinary combat power. He had single-handedly fought against the masters of the 10 major sects. However, at that time, all of Qingshuan's disciples were either annihilated or severely crippled by the monster invasion. The other sects didn't suffer much damage as they didn't participate in the battle. The traitor said that the Moon Cauldron, one of the 12 imperial weapons, now belonged to him. The sect was unable to resist these thieves. In the battle, Ancestor Qing Ye defeated the masters of the 10 great sects. The entire Qingshuan sect was looted by them, including the 12 most important treasures. Only the formation engraved on the Yunxia Peak remained. Even Qing Ye's ancestor was seriously injured. In search of a cure after settling down in the Qingshuan sect, he left. After that, no one had heard from him for the past 7 years. Ye Kangshuan thought, no wonder the Qingshuan sect has fallen to such a state. Even little Qing Ye has been seriously injured. Our hero remarked that they seemed to have completely forgotten how the Qingshuan sect had become the #1 sect in Changzhou. Ye Qingshuan looked beyond the trees and asked, will they still not come out after eavesdropping for so long? 2 people came out of the bushes and apologized. Liang Yishio said that when they arrived, he heard the saint telling the sad story of the Qingshuan sect and didn't want to disturb the story. The man hopes that he wasn't offended for this. Today, he is here mainly to make amends. Liang Yishao looked menacingly at his son and told him to immediately apologize to the man. The son started to apologize. Ye Kangshuan looked at Ling Yan and asked her, pointing his finger at Liang Yishao, who is this person? The girl replied that it was the master of the Yunxia Peak, Liang Yixiao. Fang Fei thought that he was being ignored again. Ye Kangshuan asked how long had it been since Liang Yixiao inherited the position. Ling Yan said she couldn't say with precision, but somewhere around 6 years ago. Tang Yu said that this person looked like a peak master from the old generation. Liang Yixiao bowed and said that he was just lucky and got the position of peak master by chance. Ye Kangshuan remembered that one of the conditions for becoming a Yunxia peak master was to comprehend at least one formation technique from the sealed diagram scheme. Ye Kangshuan inquired, how did these 6 years go? Liang Yixiao must have already comprehended all 12 formations. Liang Yixiao replied that this guy was overestimating him. He lacks talent. He was only able to comprehend 3 formations. Ling Yan was surprised. Do these two really know each other? Ye Kangshuan was surprised. Where would he meet this gentleman? Liang Yixiao said that Saint Ye must be joking. They had just now met here for the first time. They just hit it off. Liang Yixiao said that he would not distract the young people anymore. It seems like they are busy with something. If they suddenly have a free moment, he would be glad if they visit him at the top of the Yunxia mountain. When the company dispersed, Tang Yuyu said that this man is not so simple. Ye Kangshuan replied that he was aware of it. Therefore, he will go to the Yunxia mountain himself in a few days. While there is time, they should help little Shi form a foundation. At the same time, there will be an opportunity to see if his theory works. If it works, the result will be no worse than the Moon Foundation. Maybe even better. Ye Kangshuan added that if the experiment succeeds, he will discover a new way to improve the body. Liang Yixiao said that old man Tai Chong invited him to the banquet, literally upon joining the sect, and now he came to the Moon Pavilion, wanting to use the Moon Cauldron. He knows everything that has happened to the Qingxuan sect in the past 1,000 years. Liang Yixiao added that this guy knows a lot for a reason. It seems that an ancestor has an heir. Liang Yixiao added that this person was now interested in his person. What are the odds that his appearance just a year before the seal was broken is just a coincidence? Wild monster-like beasts appeared nearby. They were fierce and powerful. Our heroes reached the Hall of Beasts. Ye Kangshuan said that they were on the spot. Lin Yan asked the Lord if he was planning to use beast blood to create a foundation for little Shi. Ye Kangshuan nodded affirmatively. He understands that Shi has the body of a twin Taoist, but it belongs to the spiritual and magical. Lin Yan said that her body is suitable for internal cultivation, not external cultivation. She might not be able to handle beast blood. Ye Kangshuan said to just trust him. Establishing a foundation with beast blood was a much more complicated process than it seemed. Entering the territory of the Beast Hall, Ye Kangshuan found himself surrounded. He was surrounded by wild and bloodthirsty predators. Tang Yuyu, while on our hero's back, asked, "Why are these demonic beasts so similar to her?" "They are hungry and cruel." Ye Kangshuan inquired, "Are these beasts not fed at all?" "It's like they've been starving for ages." Lin Yan said that the beasts are usually fed once a week. Demonic beasts are very active bullies if you feed them enough. Therefore, they are kept hungry so that they don't damage the seal formation. Ye Sangshuan said that naturally, the beasts will naturally bully, that's why they are wild. If you feed them for a long time, they are trainable. They will be very well behaved. The beasts aggressively looked towards Ye Kangshuan. Lin Yan told the master to be more careful. The beasts mistook him for food. Ye Kangshuan asked, "Does the girl have any idea what kind of horror would start if one day the hungry beasts broke the seal and escaped from here?" The hungry beasts encircled our hero. He said that an ordinary disciple shouldn't be here, he could be killed instantly. Ye Kangshuan, with Tang Yu in his arms, put his hand forward with his palm towards the beasts and used his internal energy. He said that he was fortunately not an ordinary disciple. The beasts, having been energized by the resulting shockwave, scattered in different directions. Ye Kangshuan began to analyze. Tigers have a very cruel bloodline. The attribute of yang snakes. Their blood is cold, but they can make a great nutritious item. The polar bear is a beast that is good when roasted. Tang Yu immediately jumped off the guy's shoulder and applied a wrestling technique to the polar bear. The bear ended up lying on its shoulder blades. The girl said that she felt like eating good food again. She would definitely roast that bear. Lin Yan thought that this little girl is very strong. Her master is also strong. He fights 100 demonic beasts with just one hand and even takes the time to categorize them. Lin Yan shouted for her master to be more careful. A fierce predator is sneaking up on him from behind. Tang Yu said that she could sense a purple-golden electric eel. It was indeed a predatory eel, one of the top 3 demons in the food rank. Tang Yuyu didn't expect to see it here. Tang Yuyu couldn't help herself. She said that she didn't even try to catch this predator, but it dared to attack her on its own. For that, the girl deactivated it and tied it in a knot. Tang Yue picked up the knotted eel and asked if it could escape from her like that. Tang Yuyu climbed up on our hero's shoulder again. She said she had a purple and gold electric eel. This little guy is very tasty and goes great with wine. Tang Yuyu asked if all the beasts in the neighborhood had been interrupted by Ye Kangshuan. The guy replied that he didn't know whether all of them, but he was very tired. He had to control his strength so as not to destroy them and separate them into classes based on blood type, rarity, and generally, he hadn't fought with his hands tied for a long time. Ye Kangshuan said for Lin Yan and Little C to come over to him. Ye Kangshuan said for them to take blood samples from all the beasts in this group. 2.5 liters from each would be enough. From the other group, They should take the horns and claws and grind them well into powder. Ye Kangshuan said that they should also call someone to get the remaining beasts fed. If the beasts don't eat meat, they won't be able to recover and will no longer be useful to them. Tang Yuyu said that Ye Kangshuan used his own blood as a guide. This way, he is trying to create a foundation and take the blood from those divine beasts. Ye Kangshuan asked, "Shouldn't they use the best quality blood?" Tang Yuyu replied that Shi's small body couldn't handle the blood of the divine beasts. Does he really want to improve his own body? The guy replied that Tang Yuyu can be very savvy at times. Ye Kangshuan stepped back to the desolate area and said that they were on the spot. He stood where a drop of his blood had appeared before. Thanks to his magical abilities, our hero found himself at the epicenter of the pictograph, which was necessary for further transformations. Using his magical abilities, Ye Kangshuan began to place tripods around him in this pictogram. The tripods were placed in the places that were strictly designated for them and were painted in the corresponding colors. Above each tripod, his magical beast of the corresponding color appeared. Tang Yuyu asked, "Did the guy really destroy all 4 heavenly beasts? That is to say, there should be plenty of blood in those tripods." Ye Kangshuan replied that he didn't need the deaths of these beasts. He was just making a deal. In exchange for the blood, he would not bother them for 1,000 years. Tang Yu said that she now understood why the seriously injured beasts had to give so much blood. It turns out that Ye Kangshuan had threatened them. The guy said that there were no threats. He merely gave them the choice of fighting him, or, for their own good, giving some blood. For the 4 Guangzhou heavenly beasts, they were too weak. So how would they be able to defend this place? The purpose of the battle was to improve their strength, and he didn't expect that the beasts would choose bleeding over fighting him. Tang Yuyu said that these heavenly beasts disrespected the guy by not accepting his kindness. Lingyan said that the blood of the demonic beasts had been collected. The claws and horns of the beasts from the other group were processed into powder and preserved in rings. These were spatial rings. Ye Kangshuan said that it was excellent, and added that it was time to create a foundation for Shi. Ye Kangshuan caught little Shi's attention and told her to observe his actions. In creating a beast blood foundation, it was very important who was the bearer. If one used ordinary items that couldn't suppress and preserve the blood, the foundation creation would be unsuccessful. Even if an excellent piece of jewelry was used, it wouldn't be able to completely suppress the blood rage and retain it. This would also be considered a failure. The only way to do it right was to use one of the demonic beast's body parts as a keeper and maximize the full absorption of its blood, and then inject the blood into the body afterwards. Lingyan thanked the Lord for the instruction. Next, the guy said that it was necessary to mix everything thoroughly. In fact, you can't use spiritual herbs, fruits, pills, and the like when mixing. The demonic blood itself is able to absorb the spirits of heaven and earth to strengthen the body. One could even say that demonic blood is a polymer of spiritual energy. The perfect heavenly material is demonic beasts. They can achieve perfection by relying on their blood alone. Therefore, it is not necessary to add other ingredients. But if there is a need to enhance the effect of the beast blood, you can use the blood of a beast with a higher rank. The type of blood used is determined by the conditions of the base creator itself. She had never cultivated, so she would be best suited with the blood of a gentle bloodline that could even nourish the body. Ye Kangshuan said that it was dangerous if the blood was too high level, but if it was too low level, it simply wouldn't be suitable. If they used the blood of the gentle bloodline too high level, an ordinary foundation maker might not be able to withstand it. Ye Kangshuan said to little Shi to come over to him. Ye Kangshuan told the girl that it would hurt a little at first, but it would get easier later. She should meditate, as he taught her. She immersed herself in a vat of prepared blood-based liquid and said she felt hot. Ye Kangshuan told the girl not to get up and start meditating. Ye Kangshuan told the outsider that he had been observing for quite a long time. Isn't it time for him to show himself? Ye Kangshuan added, will he come out by himself, or does he need to be taken out? A surprised Lin Yan wondered, is there really someone watching them? From behind a tree, a supreme elder appeared. He asked, How did the guy know so much about his Qingzhuan sect? How did he know about the Beast Hall and the Beast Blood Base? After all, these were secrets. Ye Kangshuan said if they were secrets, then he couldn't talk about it. Ye Kangshuan said, if the old man is the supreme elder of the sect, then he should know which clans took her 11 treasures. The supreme elder asked, what is the guy up to? Ye Kangshuan said, he wants the supreme elder to invite all those clans. He will hold a Lotian conference. The supreme elder was once again surprised to hear these words. The Lotian Conference is a major conference founded by Qingshuan in Guangzhou that is held every 100 years. In the first round, the strength of the youngest disciple of each sect determines the rank of the sect itself. In the second round, all sects participate in the discussion of the monster wave that happens once every 100 years. To fight this wave, each sect must send at least 500 strong cultivators each. However, after Ye Kangshuan disappeared 700 years ago, the Qingshuan sect was robbed and fell into decline. No conferences had been held since then. The Supreme Elder asked, would this really make a difference? Given the current state of the sect, no clan would participate in the conference. Ye Kangshuan said, the old man is wrong. It's not about their desire, it's about bringing a clan there at any cost. If they don't agree to come under the usual conditions, one must mention benefits in the invitations that they can't refuse, and then they would surely come. The old man inquired, did the current Qingshuan sect have something like this? Ye Kangshuan nodded affirmatively. For example, there is the weapon used by the sect's founding ancestor, the Heavenly Punishment Sword. The old man was once again surprised when he heard the mention of this sword. Does the fellow really know where this sword is located? The old man asked in surprise. Is Ye Kangshuan really a descendant of the founder? The Supreme Elder added that it was not surprising that they had the same names. The fellow probably aspires to become as fine a person as the founder ancestor. The name, however, is something the young man uses to motivate himself. Tang Yuyu held back again and laughed. Tang Yuyu told the guy that it would be easier if he just recognized that he was a descendant of Ye Kangshuan. The girl had a bump on her head again. She asked resentfully, why beat her again? Ye Kangshuan replied for her to stop fooling around. Can't she see how serious a matter is being discussed? Ye Kangshuan told the elder that it was necessary to inform the other clans that as long as they had the Heavenly Punishment Sword, they might not be afraid. The elder said that this weapon belonged to their ancestor. Furthermore, it was the only one superior to the imperial-grade weapons in all 9 lands. Supreme Elder Chang asked apprehensively, what if this weapon is stolen by someone? Ye Kangshuan told the old man not to worry. He has his own methods, that's why he's asking to get the weapon. Dealing with each clan is very tedious. They will all have to be dealt with in one fell swoop. The Heavenly Punishment Sword, this azurite reforged sword, was Ye Kangshuan's first heavenly weapon. It was originally an ordinary sword, and during Ye Kangshuan's battle with the Demon King, the latter had broken it with a single blow. Although Ye Kangshuan was seriously injured, he was able to destroy the Demon King. Then Ye Kangshuan personally forged the azurite sword, adding many imperial-grade items to it. The entire forging process took 4 to 9 days. After that, the sword became divine like all imperial-grade weapons. After the sword was bathed in the Demon King's blood, it became extremely bloodthirsty. Its combat power was unrivaled. Back then, Ye Kangshuan named it the Sword of Heavenly Punishment. He wanted to use it to take over the heavens. From then on, Ye Kangshuan fought all the time. He destroyed monarchs and even lords. After bathing in the blood of his enemies, his sword surpassed imperial-grade weapons. Over the course of 1,000 years, many people became afraid of the Heaven Punishment Sword. The one who takes possession of it will become the ruler of the heavens. Ye Kangshuan told the old man to tell the other clans about the Sword of Heavenly Punishment. Not everyone can take Qingshuan sect's items without returning them to their place afterward. It's been hundreds of years, it's time to repay them with something interesting. The Supreme Elder asked his interlocutor if he was sure that everything would go properly. The boy replied that he had no doubts. Witnessing this dialogue was Liang Yixiao, who was cunningly hiding in the bushes. He heard the entire conversation. The man thought, is this really about the Heavenly Punishment Sword? Later, after arriving home, Liang Yixiao, analyzing the information he had received, was very angry. Who is this boy even? As soon as he entered the sect, he started looking for the moon cauldron, then went to the beast hall, where he learned about the blood-based foundation of the 4 divine beasts, and now he also mentioned the sword of heavenly punishment. Could this person really be Ye Kengshuan's descendant? No matter who he was, he must not be allowed to disrupt his plans. Liang Yixiao thought, he's been trying to obtain the heaven punishment sword for 1,000 years. This brat might not even think of stopping him. Liang Yixiao thought that only he was worthy of using the only earthly weapon that surpassed the imperial grade because he bathed in his blood. The dungeon at Yungxia Peak. Fang Fei thought if he spent 10 years locked up, he would want to destroy himself. The boy rejoiced when he saw that his father had returned. The young man told his ancestor to let him out of here. Liang Yixiao asked if the young man realized his mistakes. The lad replied that he had realized the fault and would not be so reckless from now on. Liang Yixiao told his son not to worry. The situation had changed, and therefore his recklessness was no longer as important. Fang Fei said, just as he thought, his father still loves him. Then he can go out of here and chase after Saint Yi. The man said that can wait. There is a more important task for the boy. Does he know why he came into existence in the first place? Fan Fei answered sincerely because his father and mother loved each other very much. His father's answer disappointed him. He said that this is not the case. The young man is his backup plan because he needs his own blood to use the blood contract technique. The Qingzhuan sect has a secret technique that can restore a person to their original state, and if he doesn't apply it, his fake death will be revealed. The young man asked his father what this blood contract technique was. Liang Yixiao told his son not to worry. Liang Yixiao pierced his hand into the young man's chest and ripped out his heart from there. The boy looked at his ancestor in surprise. Liang Yixiao said that his son was born so that he could use this technique. He would disappear from people's sight and be able to use all his strength to break the seal. Liang Yixiao said that he had also destroyed this guy's mother. Since they were from different races, he couldn't trust her. She was a human, and he was a demon. The young man faintly thought, is his father really a demon? What is he then? Fang Fei collapsed on the floor with a hole in his chest. Liang Yixiao said that it was finally time. Liang Yixiao stood with his son's heart in one hand and activated the release of inner demonic energy from his other hand. Liang Yixiao began to use his demonic knowledge and drew various pictograms in the air above the body of the motionless young man. Liang Yixiao said it would take at least half a year to recover a single drop of blood from his heart, but if everything worked out, it would be worth it. Liang Yixiao drew a pictogram near his son's body and recreated his energy clone, which he placed next to him. He said that he had finally succeeded. Now all that was left was to wait for the body to rot. Little Shi continued to meditate while in the vat of bloody solution. Tang Yuyu said that it would be soon. The creation of Shi's foundation was almost finished. Ye Kengshuan sent Tang Yu to get clean. Shi needs to be washed and changed. Ye Kengshuan told Lin Yan that the clothes should be better. Qingshuan's sect clothes are ugly. We should bring clothes similar to what he is wearing. Ye Kengshuan told the girl to order clothes from the atelier at the foot of the mountain. After 1 hour, Lin Yan said that everything was ready. She skipped the body refinement stage, immediately opening up the ocean of qi and directly entering the profound soul stage. She has 4 profound souls. Ye Kengshuan and Lin Yan looked at little Shi with surprise and admiration. Tang Yu wondered if it was ready. She thought that Shi would be like a guy in the body refinement stage. She knew that only a saint body could have 4 profound souls. Ye Kengshuan said that it wasn't bad. Shi's body had indeed improved a lot. But at this stage, it couldn't become better than a divine body or just live a long life. It would have to find another way. Ye Kengshuan said that Shi would have to be washed first. After Shi was cleaned up, she looked in the mirror and didn't recognize herself. Ling Yan said that her foundation was complete. She was already at the profound soul stage. Cultivators who have reached this stage receive a response from their profound ki, which changes their appearance. Normally, this would happen once in a lifetime, but the girl was able to activate 4 profound souls. Her body changed 4 times, and she started to look older. C liked this and asked where her big brother was now. She really wanted to brag about her accomplishments. Lingyan said that she was a real beauty and added that she would take her to the disciple initiation ceremony. Yakangshuan asked Tang Yu what she was doing here. Tang Yu replied that she was setting up her chair. After she honors his mentor by giving him a cup of tea, she will give tea to her as well. After all, she is the mentor's wife. The doors opened and the girls appeared on the doorstep. Ye Kangshuan and Tang Yu didn't expect to see such beauty. Lingyan said that she was just following what she had been taught. It was about the Baixia Lai ceremony. A prospective disciple comes to a mentor and asks to be his disciple. Ye Hangshuan asked the girl, does she know how to worship her mentor? Shai bowed and said the disciple welcomes her mentor. She, as was her custom, offered her mentor a taste of tea. Tang Yu sat on her chair and thought that her turn would come soon. It was exciting. This would be the first time she would be presented with tea. Ye Kangshuan drank the tea and told the girl to stand up. Tang Yu continued to wait. Tang Yu thought that she should get a cup of tea too. Did she forget? She asked if the little missus was okay. Could she be sick? Why does she keep coughing all the time? Lingyan thought that laughing wasn't allowed right now. The Supreme Elder had said that this little girl, a demoness, would cause trouble if she was angered. Tang Yu angrily jumped up on her chair and asked who she called petty. She and her mentor are spouses, so that means she should present tea to her as well. She asked her mentor, is it true that one should present tea to Tang Yu? Ye Kangshuan replied that it could be done that way. Technically, it is indeed his mentor's wife. Tang Yu asked, what does the word technically mean in this case? She demanded an explanation. She asked the mentor's wife to accept the tea. Tang Yu was pleased, smiled, and said that this girl is a good student. Tang Yu thought, who cares if it's only technical? She will still accept this tea. Tang Yu said for she to come up. She accepts it. She will be her and her husband's good student from now on. Tang Yu said if the ceremony is over, they will go to worship heaven and earth. She asked in surprise, why perform this ritual in this case? Ye Kangshuan was also surprised. Shai thought about something and clenched her fists and asked, is she going to have a little sister soon? Ye Kangshuan wondered, what did this old witch say to little she? Tang Yu said if Ye Kangshuan recognized her, then they should definitely bow to heaven and earth. Suddenly a maid came running in and told Saint Yi that she had bad news. Tang Yu thought that she had a clearly good opportunity right now, but someone had to ruin it. Lingyan told the girl to calm down and calmly explained everything. She said that there was an emergency at Yunxia Peak. Liang Yixiao and his son Fang Fei had died. Someone had destroyed them. Ye Kangshuan thought, did Yunxia Peak Master and his son really get annihilated? Ye Kangshuan asked, did they really die? This is very curious. Tang Yu said that she could hardly believe it. Ye Kangshuan said, whether it was true or not, they would only know when they saw it for themselves. Ye Kangshuan gathered all his girls and said that they were going on the road to do their investigation. Ye Kangshuan arrived at Yunxia Peak and opened the doors wide and entered the premises. His girls followed behind him. The elders present turned around and saw that Ye Kangshuan had also come. A horrifying picture appeared in front of our hero's eyes. Liang Yixiao was stabbed through the chest with a spear. Blood was oozing down his clothes. On the wall was an inscription made with blood. The criminal demanded to give him the heaven punishment sword, or else he would destroy the entire sect. Lingyan thought that this person had indeed been destroyed. Saint Ye closed the girl's eyes and told she not to look. Ye Kangshuan said, let her look. She had already set foot on the path of cultivation. Sooner or later, she would still encounter it. Our hero decided to check things out personally and look into Liang Yixiao's memories. Ye Kangshuan wanted to understand, did Liang Yixiao really die? Ye Kangshuan used his inner resources to activate the high-resolution display of memories. Pictures of the recent events appeared in front of our hero's eyes. Ye Kangshuan realized the essence of what was happening here. Liang Yixiao had claimed the cherished sword. However, the young man told him that the heaven punishment sword belonged to him, and there was no need to try to take it away. The elder said that someone had managed to sneak into the Qingshuan sect. A colleague replied that it was impossible. Yet Qingshuan thought, did he really die? Tang Yuyu said that it made her doubtful. Tang Yuyu asked that Ye Qianshuan use the definition of origin. Is he, Liang Yixiao, really Fang Fei's father? Ye Qianshuan put the fingers of his right hand forward and activated the ancestry recognition mode. The activation occurred. Ye Qianshuan saw images of two people in front of him, painted in the same color. One of the images started to change hue, and finally changed its color. This spoke volumes. Tang Yuyu said that as far as she remembered the origin recognition technique, she could already draw her conclusions. If the souls were related, it meant that the two were related. A yellow-colored soul means that the person relates to the other either as an older sibling or a parent. Tang Yuyu said that he was indeed Liang Yixiao, and he had indeed died. One of the elders thought, once again this boy is meddling. Now he is intruding on the investigation. The elders wondered, what is this all about? These secret techniques should only be known to the members of their sect. How does the boy know how to use them? And he's using them very skillfully. This kid used origin recognition on Liang Yixiao, the peak master of their sect. Showing memories might find the culprit, but recognizing origin is taboo. Does he really suspect a corpse? The elder asked Supreme Elder Tsang who this person was. Tsang replied that he himself does not know. Old man Tsang said that this person had something to do with their sect, so he shouldn't harm them, and he suggested that they hold a lotion conference. The master thought that the Supreme Elder had approved this guy's suggestion of a lotion conference, but this is a serious matter. How could the elder let this boy impose it? Where did he even come from? Supreme Elder Tsang said that he had his own reasons. More, he doesn't want to discuss it. Ye Qianshuan said that the elders here had better think of ways to tighten security so that this kind of thing doesn't happen again, or the news of the conference has already spread. Ye Qianshuan said as he left that if nothing happened, the 6 major sects would gather at Qingshuan sect in 3 days. Ye Qianshuan walked out of the pavilion and headed to the edge of the forest. He told the girls to wait for him here. Ye Qianshuan, with Tang Yu on his shoulder, took a few big jumps and changed his dislocation. Tang Yu asked the guy if he really thought Liang Yixiao was dead. Ye Qianshuan replied that at first glance, that was exactly what it seemed like. Ye Qianshuan stepped on a hidden spot, and a seal pictogram formed around him. A huge sword appeared in front of our hero's eyes, accompanied by flashes of flames. It was shrouded by a golden chain. Ye Qianshuan said that in any case, Liang Yixiao had his eye on this heavenly punishment sword. The final seal on the sword, the villain had to weaken it by at least 90%. If there was a person in this country who could weaken the seal like that, then there would be others, but he couldn't do it in such a short period of time without being noticed. Tang Yuyu suggested, so, along with the sword of heavenly punishment, a terrible villain would also appear. Ye Qianshuan agreed. He personally forged this sword, and not everyone can use it. He would allow the villain to hold it, if, of course, the villain would help eliminate all the problems in the Qingshuan sect. Tang Yuyu said that her hubby is very spoiled, forcing others to do all the dirty work. Not only do they end up not getting rewards, but they even risk their lives. Tang Yuyu added that she likes such a spoiled husband. She thought that in 2,000 years in the upper world, he had become kinder. After all, in the past, he would ruthlessly destroy anyone who annoyed him. Ye Qianshuan said that he was too lazy to waste his time on a few ants. If he were to act, it would only be for something big. The surroundings of Qingshuan sect. On a plateau surrounded by chains, in the very center on a rock, is a mirror. A young man is approaching it. The guy stared intently into this mirror, trying to find the information he needed in the reflection. This man really knew how to use the origin recognition technique, and even how to activate the seal on the heaven punishment sword. But out of the 12 treasures, 11 of them had already been stolen. Even knowing the sealing technique, it wouldn't be possible to seal the sword without them. The man said that the seal on Yongxia's sword was also the greatest treasure. So far, he was only able to weaken it by 90%, but now he could easily apply the holy seal. Very soon, a drop of his blood will fuse with the seal. This way, he would be able to secretly weaken the Heaven Punishment Sword seal. The man struck the mirror with his fist, and beams of powerful internal energy began to spread out in different directions. The chains holding the sword continued to gradually break. The guy said that he was destined to become the master of the sword. Once the Loshan Conference takes place, the seal of the Heaven Punishment Sword will be broken. This sword wants blood. A servant ran up to the girl and told the lady that their time had come, and he had good news. The girl replied that she would talk about it after she finished playing the tune. The servant said that this was a very important event. The Qingxuan sect will hold a Loshan conference. The girl stopped playing and said that she was interested in the details. The servant thought that her mistress would listen carefully about everything related to the Qingxuan sect. Yesterday, the Qingxuan sect announced that they would be holding a Loshan conference. But because their authority is weak, they didn't tell them about it. Rumor has it that the conference will decide the master of the Heavenly Punishment Sword. The girl asked if they had told them who decided to hold the conference. The servant said that it was decided by the supreme elder of the Qingxuan sect, Tai Kang. The girl said that this old man had the courage to announce the Loshan conference, although if he was really brave, he would have held it earlier. The girl asked the servant if he thought he might be back. The girl gathered her musical instrument and said, in that case, they should go looking for him, and ask him where he has been missing for 2,000 years. They should tell all the students downstairs and inside to gather in the main hall in 2 hours. The girl added that they are going to the Qingxuan sect. The lady added that they would attend the Loshan conference. Last time, when everything was swallowed up by chaos, she wasn't around. Therefore, she was only able to keep 3 treasures. Whether he came back or not, she would definitely be there this time. Of the 6 major sects, Hellfire Valley. A servant reported to the Valley Master that the Qingxuan sect had finally decided to take out the Heavenly Punishment Sword. The Hellfire Valley's Valley Master, Qi Tiangang, said that the only weapon superior to the Imperial grade had finally gotten it out. The disciples downstairs should be informed that they would be advancing to Qingxuan sect in half an hour. Qi Tiangang said that he was obligated to obtain the Heavenly Punishment Sword. One of the 6 major sects was the Secret Sword Sect. A disciple reported to his mentor that he had just learned an important piece of news. The mentor, upon hearing of this news, was surprised. Is the Qingxuan sect really ready to get the Heaven Punishment Sword? Master said that it was about time. He lacked a supreme sword master who could develop his 10,000 sword technique. This was the head of the Secret Sword Sect, Jian Chen. The mentor told the disciples to keep practicing. He would be back soon. The disciple asked the mentor if he would need them to accompany him. Jian Chen replied that their presence would only tie his hands. In the Qingxuan sect, Ye Qiangxuan continued to train little Shi. He said that the saint body with the souls of the 4 heavenly beasts was excellent for establishing a foundation. Using the existing 4 profound souls could strengthen the magical foundation several times. At the same time, the profound souls of ancient beasts are incredibly strong and can hold anything. Countless spell texts can be engraved into them. When the time comes, little Shi will be able to use magic instantly. The girl should take her time and feel out these texts. Destruction is not always the only option. Some battles are better won bloodlessly. Doing everything alone isn't a good idea either. One should not take the example of Tang Yu, who only knows how to be reckless and not elegant. Tang Yu sobbed with grief. She wondered, had Ye Qiangxuan fallen out of love with her and was now going to leave her? Last time, he was the one who taught her that strength could solve anything, and even taught her how to beat people up, and now he's going to dump her. Ye Qiangxuan said that Tang Yu is not like she. Her body is not made for battles. The possessor of a saint's body with 4 profound souls is destined to become a mage. Tang Yuyu was overjoyed when she found out that Ye Qiangxuan was not abandoning her. Ye Qiangxuan looked at Ling Yan and said that now it was her turn. In the 10-spirit sword technique, the key point was not the spirit of the sword, but the attribute of the sword. Ling Yan wasn't the only one who chose the wrong approach, the entire sect did. No wonder none of the sect members had mastered the technique perfectly until now. Yet Kangshuan stretched his hand forward, and internal energy flowed through his fingers, bypassing the sword and flowing in the right direction. Our hero said that the sword spirit itself was too powerful. If the body was not strong enough, the spirit could harm it. The Yang sword in this technique requires pure Yang, but although Ling Yan had purified it, her body was weak, causing her internal organs to be damaged. Ye Sangshuan told Ling Yan to watch his hands. The key attribute of the pure Yang sword contained within it was heat. A strike of this sword can inflict lasting damage and burn someone else's meridian. The sword can also explode the Yang contained within it, making the attack deadly. Ye Kangshuan explained to his disciple that among the 10 spiritual swords, there was an ice sword. Like the pure Yang sword, the ice sword focuses on the coldness contained within it. This sword requires more control when using it. As long as one has enough ki, even fire can be frozen with a strike of the ice sword. If one uses the ice sword during battle, while the opponent is wary of the pure Yang sword, 100% of its power will have at least 50% of its effect. Another one of the 10 spiritual swords is the Sikkim sword. This sword is the sharpest among all of them, and thus its strikes are most likely to destroy the opponent. The pure Yang sword focuses on explosive power, the ice sword focuses on control, and the Sikkim sword focuses solely on destroying the victim with a single strike. Ye Kangshuan said that at the same time, this sword could be used as a sneak weapon. Its sharpness, speed, and killing power make it an ideal sneak weapon. If one manages to make a sword strike stealthily, it will seriously wound the opponent. This technique can be made even more devastating. To do so, all you need to do is to infuse more of your chi into any of these swords. It is usually quite easy to transform the attribute of a sword, although transforming the attribute of a Sikkim sword will require a bit more ki. For example, one could change the attribute of a Sikkim sword to that of a pure Yang sword, and blast it with Yang afterward. The main thing in the 10 spiritual swords technique is not the spirit of the swords, but their attributes. Therefore, no matter how much one trains the sword spirit, it won't change anything. If in the future, a girl mastered combining the attributes of all 10 spiritual swords, their combat power would be doubled. Ling Yan bowed to the master and thanked him for these helpful instructions. Ye Kangshuan said for her to stand up. Ye Kangshuan said that with her talent, mastering all 10 attributes of the 10 spiritual swords would not be difficult. It was just that she was going the wrong way before. Ye Kangshuan said for Ling Yan to remember, there are 10 attributes to the 10 spiritual swords, and they can all interact with each other. Just now, he showed her how 3 attributes could be used at once. Ling Yan said that she had internalized all the information she had learned and would try to put it into practice. Using the information she had learned, Ling Yan resumed practicing, but the mentor said that she changed attributes too quickly. The girl should take her time and do everything gradually. She should master one spiritual sword first. If she tried to master them all at once, the whole training would go in an unnecessary direction. Ling Yan revealed that in this case, she was using a pure Yang sword. In the girl's hands, this sword was simply on fire. Ye Kangshuan told little Shi to be more careful and concentrate. The most important thing about the magic foundation is its understanding. If she tries to summon magic by force, nothing will come out. Magical foundation doesn't just depend on how much she practices. She must understand and explore the magical foundation he taught her. She said that she would do as her mentor told her to do. Tang Yuyu continued to fool around. She told the young man to open his mouth. In her hand, the girl held a delicious berry. Tang Yuyu asked if it might make sense for them to have a wedding ceremony. The tasty berry got stuck in the boy's mouth. 3 days of intense training had passed. Ling Yan was showing significant progress. The sword in her hands shone differently. After the demonstration, Ling Yan asked what the master thought about it. Ye Kangshuan replied that it wasn't bad. With this level of proficiency, She will be able to fight against masters of imperial caliber. She has some powder in her powder pots. But the girl is still too slow in changing spiritual sword attributes. She needs to work on her speed. Ling Yan thanked the master for his valuable instructions, as always, and said that she would take everything into consideration. Yin Yang also observed little Shi's progress. The girl continued to meditate intensely and try to break through to the next level. Yakangshuan said that it wasn't bad. She could already create a 6-layer magic foundation. At least now no one who is at the level of ordinary masters can harm Shi. Now she can protect herself to some extent. Tang Yu once again clutched at our hero's back. The guy shouted, "Can she stop doing this already?" Tang Yu said, "She doesn't care what he thinks. She wants her ceremony. Period." Ye Kangshuan got rid of the annoying bride somehow and said that the 6 major sects had already arrived. An unknown mountain 200 kilometers away from the Qingshuan sect. Still on a plateau surrounded by chains, there is a mirror in the middle. A young warrior also approaches it. The young man says that the seal will be broken soon. A demonic thing like the sword of heavenly execution will consume it if he doesn't give it blood. Fortunately, the news that the Qingzuan sect is gathering has already spread. Apart from the 6 major sects, other supreme sects would also come. The blood essence of the other higher sects might not be at the same level as the main sects, but there is still some benefit from them, and they are easier to deal with. This warrior pushed off the ground and flew in the right direction. Supreme sect. The disciples of the Yi Yun sect. The young men said that they rushed here for 3 days and finally reached this sect. It's been a long time since they traveled this far in such a short period of time. After all, this is the heaven execution sword we're talking about. Who would have thought that the Qingquan sect would actually give it away? If they were lucky enough to get the sword, it would be wonderful. The unknown warrior in the forest met with the members of this sect. Their leader introduced himself and asked who was in front of him. They are heading towards the Qingshuan sect to gain useful experience. The stranger said that he was not a disciple of the Qingshuan sect. The master suggested that this guy must mean he was a disciple of one of the 6 major sects. The stranger replied that he wasn't either. The group leader said, "In that case, this guy is just like them, also waiting to collect the leftovers." The young man added that in that case, the stranger would have to die, and he drew his sword from its sheath. He didn't want to tolerate any rivals. The leader of the group added that he was curious to see someone who was chasing the same goals as they were. They even felt like fighting. The stranger said that these guys are wrong. He's not here to pick up the leftovers. In fact, he just wants to destroy a few people to pay homage to the sword. The stranger clashed with this squad and began to methodically destroy one warrior after another. The result was the complete annihilation of this squad. The leader, dying, said that the opponent had demonic ki. He was from the demon clan. The victorious opponent said that this guy guessed, but there would be no reward for him. The stranger raised a fireball above his palm and began to collect the energy of the dead warriors. When all the energy was collected, this guy said that he still didn't have enough. Huangshanlin Mountain is 100 kilometers away from the Qingshuan sect. The warrior squad is following the set direction. The stranger saw these warriors and thought that they were the Lei Yun sect. Although this sect had only recently started to be considered one of the higher sects, they still had quite a lot of people. The demonic stranger said that it wasn't bad and pounced on the entire squad. After everyone was destroyed, he said that it was still not enough. This was followed by the annihilation of the Qing Shui sect members. This wasn't enough for the stranger either. The villain massacred the members of the Baiyu sect. He said that it wasn't enough either. The bloody demon race representative didn't expect that the Wanglin sect had similar strength to the 6 major sects. They probably wanted to shock the entire world at the gathering this time. The villain felt that it was a waste of his precious time. At one point, the young man said that he had finally collected enough blood essences. The villain said that he almost had the sword of heavenly execution. He placed a drop of blood on his palm. The drop of blood grew and began to increase in size. The blood enveloped the entire nearby area. The villain conjured and tried to break the seal he hated. The man was performing a demonic seal ritual, a bloody ritual. The villain screamed for the sword to absorb these bloody essences it was giving him. The entire stone plateau and what was inside it was inside the bloody cloud. The villain leaned his fingers against his forehead and said he could feel the sword enjoying it. The villain said that now the sword could come out and play. The sword freed itself completely from the chains restraining it. A huge crack formed in the middle of the board. The demon said he finally got that sword. The spirit of the sword resents it. Does the sword not want him as its owner? The villain said that he is the one who released the sword and also presented him with all the blood essences. If it wasn't for him, the sword would still be sealed in the ground and its spirit would be dispelled. The man once again asked, would the sword agree to be owned by him after all this? Who under this sky could be a more suitable owner than him? The stranger thought it was some kind of forbidden seal. The sword wouldn't recognize its owner until he broke the seal, and to break the seal, he would have to visit the Qingxuan sect again. Heaven's General Assembly, mysterious sword sect master Jian Chen. The elder turned to Jian Chen and told the gentleman to pass quickly. Jian Chen is very humble. The elder added that the talent is average at best, and the fact that he has lived to this age is already considered a great fortune. Jian Chen said that the elder shouldn't greet the others. He would find a place to sit down himself. The young man was greeted and asked if it was really Brother Jian Chen. Could it be that Brother Jian Chen had come alone? The head of the Hidden Nine sect, Nieju Yu, greeted the young man. He asked, why didn't Brother Jian Chen bring his disciples? The head of the Acacia sect, Yi Ken Rong, asked, why would Big Brother Jian bring his disciples with him? Given Senior Brother Jian's strength, his disciples would only get in the way. Yi Zhenrong moved closer and asked, wasn't she right? Jian Chen replied that the girl shouldn't be like that. He has absolutely no interest in her. Nai. Juyu laughed. He asked, how many times has this already happened? The girl should give up. He is not interested in her. The head of the Thousand Beast sect, Zhang Huang, arrived on a wild bear. He said hello to the people present and said that he hadn't seen everyone for a long time. Suddenly, a fiery cloud began to appear in the sky. Everyone felt an excessive pressure on themselves. They realized that a challenging opponent was approaching. It possessed tremendous power. A fire warrior joined the others. He also arrived accompanied by his disciples. This warrior said that the sword of heavenly execution would belong to him. An elder with a musical instrument in his hand told this fire master to watch his aura. They are all from the 6 major sects. Does this guy really think that there is no one equal to him? The elder took out his musical instrument and told this guy not to block their path. The fire elder was surprised. Did she really take the liberty to attack first? However, the girl was not afraid, and using the magical sounds of her musical instrument, she wounded this guy. His hand began to bleed. The elder with the musical instrument said that one shouldn't be too arrogant. There is always someone higher than him. The girl suggested that everyone move on. The elder on the bear said that even someone like Qi Tian Gang couldn't block this attack. How could this woman be so strong? If she was able to single-handedly take over the Heavenly Temple, which was one of the 6 major sects, then she was underestimated. The elder with the musical instrument said that all the major sects were already here. She suggested to Elder Taitsang to start the general meeting. Taitsang agreed. Taitsang raised his hand up to get everyone's attention and said loudly that he was starting the Heaven's Core Gathering. Just like the previous Heaven's Core Gathering, this one consisted of 2 stages. In the first stage, each sect would present their inner disciples and, based on their strengths, they would determine the ranking of the sect. In the second stage, there will be discussions. The ownership of one of the Qingxuan sect's supreme treasures will be discussed. An elder said that the rumors about the sword of heavenly execution were true. The colleague said that this sword was the only emperor-ranked weapon. Obtaining it would be tantamount to conquering the world. Jianshin wondered, why would they divide it into 2 stages? It makes sense to just go to the second part. What's the point of the first stage, since he hasn't even brought his disciples? If they continue, does he seem like he's on the losing end to me? After all, His sect is destined to be the last one. Besides, so what if someone becomes the winner in the first stage? The one who obtains the heavenly execution sword will be the true winner. Guy asked the elders what they thought about it. One of the opponents said that he was fine with it. The head of the Hidden Nine sect isn't the strongest here anyway, and the disciples are all pretty mediocre. A co-worker said that he was fine with it as well. Another elder said that she would follow what Brother Jian Chen suggested. After all, their main goal is the heaven execution sword. Jian Chen said that there was still one more question left. Suddenly, someone said that he was against it. The elders present looked at the stroppy opponent with surprise. The one who opposed was the one representing the Qingshuan territory. They own the item, and these elders want to get their hands on it. At the very least, we should give them some leeway. Jian Chen said that he agreed. What they just said made sense. Jian Chen said that in that case, everyone can proceed to the battle. Personally, he would not participate in such a meaningless fight. The elder told Supreme Tai Kang that in that case they would start. Tai Chang replied to Lady Qin that he didn't mind. The Supreme Elder raised his hand up and said that the main heaven gathering was officially starting. The first match is a mixed battle. Each sect can send 20 of their disciples. After an hour, or when only 20 people are left, the mixed battle will end. The meeting said that the disciples from each sect should go on stage. Each sect allocated 20 of their best disciples. The disciples said that they would not disappoint. Each of them expected to take first place. Tai Chang announced that each sect had sent their disciples. He announced the beginning of the mixed battle. The battle would begin. All the disciples were at the ready. Tang Yuyu sat down, devoured, and said that the food was delicious. She wouldn't give it to anyone. Ye Kangshuan told the girl that it was time to wake up. The main gathering of the heavenly gathering had begun. One of the elders suggested that they should do it together. They should accomplish the elimination of the people from the Jade Maiden Hall. How could one of the 6 major sects side with the Qingzuan sect that had long passed its dawn? This is a disgrace to them. Another elder said that they should be destroyed first. We should humiliate them. The warrior girl wondered, do these guys really want to expel them from the Jade Maiden Hall together? That girl activated her warrior musical instrument and said that these guys weren't good enough. One of the elders, bleeding out, said that there was no need to be afraid, although their sound waves were striking, but their bodies were very fragile. Once one manages to get close to them, it will be over for them. If attacked together, the rivals won't be able to cope at the same time. The musical instruments played louder and more intense. The girls said that these guys were definitely seeking their doom. Each of the girls played a different role in this orchestra. The opponents were losing on all fronts. The musical waves attacked the attackers and cut their bodies into pieces. Someone else appeared in the arena and said that the Hall of Virgins looked quite formidable. It was the son of the Thousand Beast sect, Zhang Yang. Working as a unit, these girls had knocked out all of his fellow brothers. Zhang Yang asked Brother Mingyu what he thought about his rivals. Yuming, son of Zhu Yudan, interjected, "Is a colleague really interested in what he thinks? Where who has no ability is just trash. Who cares if they are destroyed?" Zhang Yang said that Brother Yu is right. If their brothers were defeated so easily, they would be of no use. But they are all still from sects, and if they have been humiliated to this extent, at least they should do something about it. Zhang Yang said that he had to do something about it and couldn't just stand there and wait lest they think he was a coward. Yuming said to let his counterpart act and do what he wants. It's a mixed fight, but, simply put, it's just an elimination match. Either way, he won't waste his energy right here. Zhu Yudian's cultivation method is more in line with the demonic sects. In the past, his son had always been unable to keep his temper, but how could he be so calm here? Zhang Yang said that he wanted to see how strong they were and attack when both of them were severely injured. What could the young master of the fire cave have to say about it? The moment Lady Qin came, she had severely injured their father. Would they not avenge him? The young fire cave master, Qi Yan, smiled when talking about revenge. Qi Yan said that he would meet with her after the mixed battle and deal with everything personally. Right now, there is no point in fighting them. He doesn't think he is stupid like that bunch of people. Zhang Yang said that the young master of the fire cave knows a lot about buffoonery. Acacia Sect's young master, Hua Wu Chang, said that he is not interested in fighting, but if she wanted to participate in dual cultivation with him, he would consider it. Zhang Yang said that he would not bother Brother Hua in that case. Zhang Yang thought that they were great stubborn people. He thought that he would be able to see their real strength. At least he realized how strong Zhou Xiaoxiao was. Jianchen sat indifferently on the chair and pretended that he was not interested in anything. The guy said that the Qingxuan sect had been lying low for hundreds of years and now suddenly made itself loudly known. I wonder who caused such a change. The Qingxuan sect actually dared to hold a meeting and put up the heaven execution sword as a prize. Everyone present was very eager to see who the winner would be. All the elders hoped that the winner would not disappoint anyone. Finally, our hero appeared surrounded by his girls. He expressed his hope that they were not too late. Ye Kangshuan told Tang Yu that it was all her fault. Why did she wake up so late and lay on the bed for a long time? Tang Yu said it was the guy's fault. If he had behaved well last night, would she have woken up so late? If he had behaved well last night and slept with her, then she would have fallen asleep much earlier and wouldn't have woken up so late. Tang Yu cried out. The guy, on the other hand, agreed for her to become Mistress Chi. She already has a name, and he said he wouldn't let her go more than a meter away from him. He ended up not spending time with her at night anyway. Tang Yu continued to cry. She asked her teacher, "What is Madam talking about? What does she mean by behavior and sleep?" Ye Kangsuan said that he would discuss this matter with his student the next time he was free. Ye Kangshuan asked Tang Yu, could she be a little more elegant and not corrupt she? The attendees watched Ye Kangshuan and Tang Yu figure out their family relationship for a while longer. Yin Yang said to make she be good. She would soon find out when she grows up. The girls walked to the middle of the arena and said they were ready. Ling Yan and she were confident. Genshin thought that this was only the peak of profound qi, not even the king realm yet, and the other was only at the beginning stage of profound qi. Jian Chen thought that this was boring. What figure were they supposed to demonstrate? He didn't expect them to be so ordinary. Another elder said that they were actually normal. Since the Qingxuan sect had already become a rank 3 sect, having such a young disciple at the profound qi stage was already a good thing, and if she was in the king realm, she might become an elder of the Qingxuan sect. The evaluation of the girls continued. Another elder thought that these girls were already considered very good. Looking at these two, one of whom was not even 12 years old yet, they were already true geniuses in the Qingxuan sect. The musical instrument elder thought, are these really just disciples? Jian Chen thought, they are all at the same stage. Even if the sky collapses, it shouldn't bother them so much. But right now, the Qin Palace master was acting strange. Is this all happening because of this guy with a child on his shoulder? Or is it because he has an early stage of physical fitness? Furthermore, this girl's cultivation is completely invisible. The elder with the musical instrument thought that everything was similar, but nothing matched. It was as if the appearance or breathing was different. If he really comes back, what kind of tricks will Xiaojia pull? The 6 major sects would be wiped out within a day. Ye Kangshuan stretched and thought that the major members of the 6 major sects were in front of him. So, there would be major changes ahead of them. Looking at the girls with musical instruments, our hero thought that they were also from one of the 6 major sects. Ye Kangshuan thought that the great sage's voice was originally created for her. If she wanted it, there was no need to fight for it. The full elder thought, could something unexpected happen? The power of the 6 major sects underwent some changes. Jade Maiden Palace appeared in the place of one of the sects. The Maiden Palace and the Master of the Qin Palace seemed to have made a favorable impression on the Qingxuan sect. Before this meeting and duel, they had spoken in their favor many times. Ye Kangshuan asked the people present if there were any points. The Supreme Elder said that at this time, the news of the gathering had spread all over the world. In addition to the 6, countless first and second level sects had also learned about it, but none of them had shown up until now. Our hero asked his companion what she thought of these disciples. Tang Yu replied that they looked pathetic. Ye Kangshuan noticed that there were some among them who could barely be seen. After all, Not everyone is lucky like she and Ling Yan to have such a great master. Tang Yu, when is he going to start? Ye Kangshuan replied that there was no hurry. The Lord hasn't come yet. Tang Yu said that the 6 sections have gathered together. Isn't Ye Qianshuan afraid that the Overlord will be afraid to come? Ye Kangshuan said that he will definitely come. If he wants to use the execution sword, he will come. After all, there is a ban on the sword. The girls must protect the Qingshuan sect for 100 years or help the sect solve the great crisis. Otherwise, the ban will not be lifted, and the sword will never be able to recognize the master. Ye Kangshuan said that the Qingshuan sect is currently in a great crisis. Ye Kangshuan said that he didn't expect her to come this time. Our hero asked the elder with the musical instrument if she was willing to help the Qingshuan sect survive this disaster. Tang Yu looked at the elder and thought that Qinmu was better. Tang Yu pounced on Ye Chanshuan and told him not to look at her. He is now her husband, not Qinmu's husband.